Can't carry a tune in a bucket, but I'd do it.
Ready for business now.
Heck yeah.
You want a little Zimbabwe to calm yourself, calm your nerves?
Do what?
You want a Zimbabwe to calm your nerves? You're all fucking wound.
I am wound up.
You're
today.
wound tight.
I am.
Old boy's wound tight this morning. Ooh, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Ducks Unlimited. Do you got to do a new thing out right now where you put a donation and you get a box sent to you? Kind of like
Anything in the box?
mystery
or
box.
Just, oh.
You know, may have win a date with Andy Shaver. I don't know, but it's all kinds of shit on
You're
there.
paying if you do.
How much would it cost for a date for you? Let's say if you were a single man, okay? Single. Just completely single. Jesse gets hit by a bus in a plane crash today or some shit. Weird. Just she's gone. And you're a single man.
Okay.
What would you charge for a woman's to be a gigolo for the night?
I'm confused. I'm paying somebody?
No. They're going to pay you. What would you charge?
What's the woman look like?
I got to put, yeah, that's the factor there.
So you're that shallow, like a gene pool.
Oh,
here, huh?
100%.
Oh, very shallow.
Well, the number's going to vary. Like if
Okay.
she's a wildebeest,
We'll
it's going to be
take-
10 grand or something like that.
So 10,000 is your deal for some big beast.
For it, like, is she going to pay for everything, or have I got to feed this beast?
Yeah.
That might put a damper in shit, you know?
Big girl, you don't take her out to eat unless you get an estimate.
Yeah, you know, we'll go to like, you know,
Okay.
a buffet or something.
Okay. A homely
Chinese food.
You're dating someone that
I don't
looks
have
like,
to have sex with her.
Oh no. Yeah, you gotta have sex. Oh. Yeah. So $10,000 for Whoopi Goldberg.
This is a whole.
All you can eat China buffet.
So
Now I get-
So Whoopi Goldberg. Somebody looks like Whoopi. What
Yeah.
would you charge it?
Well, she's got money though, so like that's gonna sway it
Who
also.
cares? Okay. What's your charge on Whoopi?
Whoopi, 100 grand.
$100,000. What it would take for you to
I'd lay it down for 100 grand.
100 grand.
For Whoopi.
Okay. Now what about somebody like Margot Robbie?
I'd pay shit. I'd do it for free.
Okay, there you go.
Pro bono.
Okay, I just was curious, if you were single, what your charges would be.
Yeah. You know, Whoopi, it's gonna cost a little bit. Margot Robbie, I'm light on my pro bono work this year.
Who do you think is the hottest chick out there? That's a celebrity.
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston still up there.
Don't shake your head, Jeff.
She's old news. Old news.
That Paige chick, that's the golfer. Paige
Sporonic.
Sporonic.
Oh, no.
Who are you thinking of?
I thought her last name was Adair, but
No, it's,
maybe not.
It's Sporonic, I think.
Yeah.
The golfer with the big hooters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her. She's good looking.
Yeah, she is. So you still got Wade Montgomery from Albany's with us today, and he's not single either, so I'm asking Steph questions. So you think Jennifer Aniston?
Yeah, she's very good looking.
She's smoking hot.
She's 60 years old, and that's still the number one. That's crazy.
No.
I'm just saying. I mean,
She's like-
I'm not saying number one, but she's an icon for
she
sure.
is. She has to be Britney Spears batshit crazy. Has to be.
Oh, for sure.
Never had kids.
It's the old hot crazy matrix.
Oh, she's way up there on that. She is a really good looking lady. I'll give you that. But I think she's absolutely batshit crazy.
She actually plays golf.
Yeah,
That's Paige Sporonic.
Well, it says Renee,
Renee.
so.
But it is
I
Paige
thought it was up
Sporonic.
there.
She was at the Kentucky Derby. Damn it, I knew I should have gone this year.
She got some airbags on her.
All natural, she says.
No.
Natural and beautiful.
She's
So-
a pretty lady.
She is.
So that I don't
She
know.
would also be free if my wife is deceased.
I don't know who my number one would be because I'm getting old now, and it's not as
Right.
it's funny. You can see an attractive woman today. Like if I go somewhere and I see a lady that's attractive and she's under 35, I think, wow, she's hot, or wow, she's good looking. But I don't think much of it because I know that there's
Right.
reality is if
There's
Michelle was dead,
There's no chance.
unless I have $100,000,
There's no chance.
Yeah, I'm out on that game. So and I know that.
Right.
So I just like, she's a pretty lady. But then if I see a lady that's 50 plus that's older,
Right.
well, she's an attractive lady.
yeah.
Someone
And I got-
before I'd have been like, God dang, she'd be looking for an old woman. But as you get older, you look at it different. But I don't know who my number one would be.
It'd have to be Jennifer Aniston.
No, I don't. I've never been a big Jennifer Aniston. I think she's pretty. I just not something about her I don't really care much for. I'll tell you somebody I think's really attractive, and she's a skank and a half. Is freaking Kim Kardashian.
No, I'm out.
I think
on her.
she's pretty. No, I know that.
Yeah.
She doesn't do nothing, but I think she's an attractive lady.
No,
She is pretty.
no.
I used to think Selma Hayek was a real pretty girl.
Salma Hayek, yes. Kim Kardashian,
I used
no.
to think Cameron Diaz was really a good looking
Cameron
lady.
Diaz.
Yeah.
And but there's just not
Age did not do Cameron Diaz well. I saw a picture of her not too long ago, and
she didn't age well.
no.
So-
She should have done that. What's the drinking the blood? She should have done more of
No.
that. The adrenochrome.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock, I used to think in a plain way was pretty. Never
Yeah.
was big on Julia Roberts at all.
No.
Not at all. But there's just not very many of them that.
I tell you who's aging like fine wine, and I'm not a big fan of his. George Strait. Fucker's 71 years old. I saw this video last night on TikTok.
I didn't know where we were going with this. And Andy's like, well, he's got a really nice ass. He's working out.
71. And why is that not playing?
He looks like he's 71 to me.
No, he does not. I mean, you can tell that he's old for sure, but
He doesn't look 71 though.
he doesn't look
No.
71 at all.
Looks like a regular.
Still rocking Amarillo by morning. That was 4 days ago.
He looks just like an old cowboy from out here, a rancher. You could see him in
hell-
Albany at 10 different places, couldn't you? Someone looks just like that.
Absolutely.
That's what makes
Well,
him
I mean,
so
that's-
cool. He's Texas.
Yeah.
But-
And he was. I mean, he used to rope before the music deal.
Yeah, that was 4
But-
days ago. I mean, I don't think he looks like he's 71. You got Joe Biden, who's what, 80, and
He looks
looks-
like he's 180.
he looks like he's 100. He looks like Tales from the Crypt.
Okay, since we bring up Joe Biden, I'm going to ask you this
Oh,
now.
God.
No, this ain't-
I didn't fucking
this
want to
ain't-
go down this road.
No, not a political. This ain't nothing political or nothing.
Okay.
This, I mean, it is, but it's not. It's nothing about policy.
I don't know how
Do
we're
you
going to talk
think-
about Joe Biden and not be
Well,
political.
Do you think sometimes he's got a body double, or do you think that's because sometimes he looks completely different than he does? I've seen.
I think you catch him without makeup.
Well, he has to wear a lot of that some bitch. A
Because
decrepit
there's that one video
Yeah.
where he's on the plane and like he's got that chin is like fucking drooping down. Like I think they find a way to like tuck that
So
shit
you
back.
see what I'm saying, though? It does.
Yeah.
He doesn't look the same all the time,
Yeah,
and so I just wondered.
yeah. I don't know.
There ain't no reason to talk about him. Everybody knows he's a dumbass.
Yeah, the
Pretty
Into
common.
that.
They're pretty common right there.
I just saw the second debate got confirmed for. Well, it was October. Fox News is going to host it. October 2nd, Fox News debate, Trump Biden.
That one will never happen.
You don't think so?
No.
He'll find a way out of
Yeah,
that.
he's going to do the one
do
with
the
the
CNN one.
liberal one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be all about that, and then he'll
Yeah.
come up with hemorrhoids or some shit, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
going to tell you the end to him would be if something happened to his wife.
Why?
That's the
his caretaker?
That's the only thing I think that keeps him in a line is he's confused about everything else is her being right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
So God, let's hope
It's
nothing happens to her.
honestly sad. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't understand how that was that was the best that they had to offer.
That's the only one they can control.
Well, you're exactly right.
Gay Pete, they're not going to control.
No.
They're not going to control Bernie's goofy ass.
Yeah.
And they couldn't control any of them other ones, but he's the one they could control. And then
And they
Kamala's
have.
stupid. He's not in charge. That's what I tell people all the time. That Joe Biden, I don't like him, and I'm not taking up for him, but
Right.
he's not running things.
That one.
Yeah,
See,
look at that shit.
Yeah.
Like he's just all droopy. I think they have a way of like tucking that shit back and
They make him zip that zipper all the way to the top.
yeah, I guess
Tuck it in there.
you can see he's kind of got like a double chin there, but not like not like it was on that plane right there. So, and maybe they just got a good makeup artist. I don't know.
Biggest fraud ever put. The Obamas was the biggest fraud until this came around, and this is it. But those three administrations between those two of Obama's and Obama's third year, the worst thing ever happened to our country. Our country has transformally changed since Obama took office in 2008.
No doubt.
And he did exactly what he wanted to do. He did not understand America.
I mean, you got to think he's still got a big play in what's going on.
Oh,
right now.
everything going on is through that page book. But he did not grow up in America that we did. And people was like, well, he's got the birth certificate. I don't give a shit where he was born.
Right.
I don't know if he was born in Hawaii or he was born in Indonesia, but he was raised in Indonesia, and everybody knows that. That's very common. He did not grow up playing Little League Baseball. He did not grow up saying pledge allegiance to the flag. He didn't grow up to the things in America that we did, and so he doesn't understand them.
Right.
Just like I don't understand if I grew up in or if I lived in Guatemala, I wouldn't
Yeah,
understand.
you're not going to understand the culture,
No.
the heritage, anything.
And so, and when he came back over here, he went to high school in Hawaii, smoked a bunch of dope, and fucking went off and married Big
Found
Mike,
Big Mike.
Big Mike at Columbia or wherever he was. And we've seen what those colleges are back. They hate America. They're indoctrinated to hate them, and that's what we got stuck with. And I don't think that's going to change. I think looking back, we could go all the way back to the mid '60s with the anti-hating America bullshit, and they finally got their people in charge, and we're paying for it. So it's a joke. So, anyways, back to the hot women. That's what I was curious about. So you're on this Jennifer Aniston kick like Andy is.
Absolutely.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with that.
Absolutely.
It's a safe bet.
So you'd say she's one of the prettiest older women ever.
Yeah.
Have you seen do you remember the chick Gretchen Wilson?
Yeah.
Absolutely. She played at Polo on the Prairie over and all. I didn't go.
Like
But
recently?
yes. Yeah.
Oof.
2 or 3 weeks ago.
She hadn't missed any biscuits in her last couple of years.
No, she played with Big and Rich, and
She is big. And she's rich.
And she's rich.
But no, I saw pictures and videos from that night, and I was like,
That's one of
"Gosh,
my
dang."
favorite songs.
Yeah. Oh, Redneck
Yeah,
Woman.
fuck yeah.
And
Look
back
at her. Whoa, God. Son of a gun.
What's that one going to cost, Andy?
That might be more than Oprah.
But she was sexy,
Oh,
hot
Oprah-
chick.
Oh,
dude.
that her music video, Redneck Woman,
Yeah.
back in the CMT days.
Yes.
When that'd come on.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy is like these music channels, they don't even play music anymore.
No, it's
CMT,
all movies.
It's all
and-
movies and shows.
Yeah. The top 20 countdown when I was growing up.
Oh my God.
I mean, I was
And you watched it.
Yeah.
every
mu-
week that it came on.
The music videos.
We had gotten
Oh, yeah.
we had gotten away from CMT because they did something, and Michelle wasn't going to watch CMT ever again. I can't remember what it was.
Right.
Some liberal shit. Well, anyways, Michelle has got a ritual on off season. She gets up when she wants to get up.
Right.
Now the new puppy Amos wakes up a lot earlier, so she has to get up earlier. She gets up and she watches Roseanne every morning. The old Roseanne's on, and she loves it. No, it's a really funny series. But that's what she watches on CMT.
CMT.
But before 8:00, they have music videos.
Oh, they do still.
Yeah, because our dad turned the TV on. I'm like, they got fucking music videos still. I didn't think people did music videos. She goes, yeah, it's on until 8 is music videos.
I'll be damned.
And I didn't know they did them.
But MTV's not. MTV's
No,
just all
MTV hadn't
shows
done it in forever.
forever.
Dude, when I first grew up was when MTV first came out, and it was all music videos.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Jeff cheated me out of my childhood for a long time. I wanted fucking VH1 and MTV so bad.
And you couldn't have it.
Couldn't have it.
Why?
I ain't paying $3 extra a month for that shit.
I don't remember us not ever having everything that wasn't there.
I fucking do.
Oh, well, good for you. It saved you, made you a better person. See how good person you are?
I do. I
Yeah.
wanted to watch Beavis and Butthead.
Tell mom she's thankful we saved that $36 a year.
Yeah.
Do you know, real quick, this won't be the do you know because we're going to have that, but this has nothing to I was not going to include that on this. Who do you think the wealthiest actress in Hollywood in the last 30 years is?
Like per movie, or she's just invested wisely?
What she's worth. Who is the wealthiest actress in Hollywood?
I'm assuming this is going to be a tough one. You wouldn't ask it like that.
It is a tough one. I was absolutely shocked. And it's a lady, you was a fan of a show she was on, a real good fan of it.
So she's a TV lady?
She's been in some movies, but she's more TV. She's been in a couple movies. I used to think she was a smoke show too.
I don't know. I give up. I tap out. I don't even have a guess. Roseanne.
She was in a show called Lesson Zero.
Never saw it.
It's a good show. She's in a show called Twister.
Gina Gertrude or
Jamie
whatever.
Gertz.
Jamie Gertz.
You know what she's worth? $3 billion.
No.
And owns part of the Atlanta Falcons.
No.
Yes.
You're fucking.
No.
You misread that.
He's gonna look it up. She married a guy that's got a lot of money, and they've invested.
Well, then there
but
you
no,
go.
but she's the
Well,
wealthiest person, and all the other women. Selma Hayek's married to a wealthy guy, but not as much money as Jamie Gertz's guy.
That's crazy.
$8 billion is her net worth.
$8 billion, not $3. $8
Wife
billion.
of Atlanta Hawks owner Tony Ressler.
He's a part owner. But anyways, they've been married for a long time.
I'll be damned.
Good for her. That just goes to show you can do all this shit in Hollywood, but you can always marry for more.
What was that show she was in? That series? It was funny.
Still
as hell.
Standing.
It was a great, funny. Have you ever seen that show?
No.
Fucking hilarious. It's a kind of the dad's just a kind of working guy, and she's an old party gal, old party whore, and they've got some kids, and their kids are embarrassed by their parents, and it's a funny show. And he's an English guy, but he has a American
sound
accent.
like
No,
it.
not at all.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
What was the movie? Is it The Wrong Missy or?
Oh God, that's funny as shit.
Yeah, I heard you talk about that. And
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
Did you think it was funny, too?
It was hilarious.
When she was in that bar,
Oh, that was bad poker.
telling you, I laughed so hard. Have you still not seen it?
I still hadn't.
God, it's
Yeah.
great.
No, that's a funny movie.
It is.
Oh, fuck yeah. I laughed so hard. Because it's a throwback to the comedies of 15 years ago plus when shit was funny. There ain't nothing funny comes out anymore.
No.
I did see where in Hollywood they have come up with $500 million investors to start a production company with Jerry Seinfeld is going to come out and they're going to have a new series out that's going to be anti-woke. They're going to be stuff the way it was in 1985, basically. They're going to come out.
Nobody's going to get offended?
No woke shit at all. And they got $500 million in investors to invest in it. People want that.
Let it roll. It'd be a hit.
Fuck yeah. People want that shit. You know, you can't, it's hard to find a place, an outlet that people talk the way people really, really talk. Everybody's scared to say something.
Absolutely.
And you know, Michael Richards is blacklisted. They won't let him play in Hollywood no more because he used the N-word on stage.
He did more than once.
But Chris Rock does it every Friday and Saturday. I know it's a different deal, but it's still just a freaking word.
But I don't think that was like the N-word in Chris Rock's is part of the bit, or Dave Chappelle. I think he was just mad at black people that night.
Well, I don't know. It's just a word, though. I just can't imagine anybody calling me anything that's going to just ruin my day.
Right.
I mean, I just, are you going to get that upset about something being called something?
I don't know.
Are you, Wade?
No.
That's me either. I just don't, you know, and it would be, that is a very bad word to use. I agree with people on that, but it's not the due end to all times.
For sure.
And it's not a hill I would stand to fight on over somebody. I damn sure wouldn't die over that word.
No.
You know, and these people want to shoot somebody over something, you know, somebody using an N-word want to shoot. It's not an excuse to hurt somebody.
Jerry Seinfeld got walked out on talking to Duke. He was the
whoa.
speaker.
Hold on. He did. I think
It was pro-Palestine.
60 students left.
Yeah, I don't know how many left.
Out of 2,000. So I'm thinking 1,900
Get going.
1,940 of them some bitches sat right there in their seats and it didn't offend them.
Right.
Don't shed light on them.
No, but the headlines on the news are the 60 that walked out.
Yeah, and I don't even know what the number are, but I saw them walk out was a very small percentage of the people that left. That means other people weren't offended by it.
Right.
The people on our side need to start standing up to these 1%ers that are fucking the whole world up.
Well, and Jerry Seinfeld, of all people on this earth, I mean, you go back and look at all of his comedy over the years. It's just good old American fun.
Yeah.
I actually don't even think he's very funny.
Oh, I love him.
His show is. I love the show.
Yes. So I'm speaking more on Seinfeld.
The show was great.
Yeah.
They touched on everything, but really didn't touch on anything.
Right.
Just stupid shit, but it was funny.
Yeah.
But him and his stand-up comedy, I've never thought he was very.
I agree on that.
I thought he was pretty boring.
He's got a couple good bits I like.
I would rather see Dave Chappelle.
Oh, 100%.
Or Chris Rock.
He's the greatest comedian ever.
Probably up there. I'd give you that.
Ever. No, it ends with Dave Chappelle.
I don't know. He's good. Eddie Murphy was damn good too.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy was good. The way that Dave Chappelle can like tie stories together, it's unbelievable.
Oh, he's wonderful. When he makes fun of the what's the dude's name in Chicago that hung himself and made it a hate crime?
Juicy Smollett.
Juicy Smollett. That
French
is
guy.
the funniest shit ever when he talks about that. It's great. He goes, somebody wearing, so somebody was wearing red make America great again in South Chicago at 2:00 in the morning. Yeah, right.
Where's Kanye is what he said.
and carrying a noose around. Yeah, right.
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna have to look.
You haven't seen that one?
Oh, it's fucking great. He makes fun of that guy so bad. Oh, Jussie Smollett or whatever it was.
He's got a couple good bits, and I sent Jeff one. He makes fun of, or he doesn't make fun of, Anthony Bourdain, and like he ties it together so well. I'll pull up that clip.
Makes fun of Chinese people and his wife's Chinese.
Yeah. So here's the Anthony Bourdain
The
one.
greatest job the show business ever produced. This flew around the world and ate delicious meals with outstanding people. That man with that job hung himself in a luxury suite in France. They say 2000 party over, oops, out of time. So tonight I'm gonna party like it's 1999. I knew a in high school that was an urban genius. This motherfucker's grades was so good, he got all the way from the hood to an Ivy League school with a full scholarship. And there, the motherfucker got himself into one of the best law schools in the country. And when he was in law school, he met a woman, they fell in love, and they were gonna get married. I remember him telling me about it. He was home for Christmas, and I told him, I said, my man, save that for later in your life. Anthony Bourdain had the greatest job that show business.
It didn't play at all.
Cut it off.
Hang on, I'll fast forward.
Anthony Bourdain had the greatest job that show business ever produced. This late in your life. But he's in love. He didn't listen to me. He married her while he was in law school. And sadly, they got divorced while he was in law school. He was a street nigga from the hood. This man had nothing. And that bitch took half of that. And then I just never saw him again for years. And then 2 years ago, I was home in D.C. doing some shopping, trying to buy my sons some socks at Foot Locker. I go to Foot Locker. Guess who's the manager? That nigga. Dressed like a referee, the whole shit. This motherfucker is 45 years old. We went out drinking that night just trying to catch up, and he told me, he said he's been living with his mother for like 10 years, just trying to get back on his feet. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is, never occurred to this nigga to kill himself. He's alive and well in D.C. I even suggested to him that he should try it out. Like, I don't know, he might
But fucking the way he was able to turn Bourdain's tragedy into that,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's just his brain operates differently. Never occurred to him to kill himself.
But that's an honest question, though. You
What?
know, or not? That's honest. I mean, some of the people that kill themselves really, it's kind of a shock.
Yeah.
There are some people I know that legitimately, if they did it, I'd be like, I understand
That
why.
makes sense.
Right.
I mean, I know
Kind of like the
somebody-
guy at Foot Locker lost half
Yeah.
of his shit to
Yeah,
a
For
divorce.
sure, but those people that don't have anything, they get out of bed every morning.
Yes.
They're happy.
Yeah.
I mean, however bad it is.
Yeah.
I know a person right now that's got a shit life. And if they did it, actually, Michelle said this the other day, said, if she done it to killed herself, she goes, I probably would understand why.
Right.
Self-induced or whatever, it's just issues that she's had, this lady's
Right.
had in her life. And I was like, yeah. And then you see people that kill themselves and you're like, what the fuck are they doing? You know, why?
It's a rich person's game. Poor people don't commit suicide. It's a new thing.
Do what now?
You didn't see people kill themselves 500 years ago, 200 years ago. Everybody was poor. Everybody struggled.
So it's because they're rich, they're killing themselves?
Well, it's just people make their own problems. People make their own problems up in their heads whenever things get. We adapted with just some of the. Every day was a fucking struggle. So if you don't have that struggle in your life, then your brain just creates this woe for me attitude. If you're not out there struggling, that's why poor people don't kill themselves. They're out there grinding every day. They don't have time to think about killing themselves because they're got bigger problems than that.
I went to school with a kid that took his own life. Freshman year, maybe. So anyways, he took his own life. Kid come from a nice family. I still don't understand. It was over a girl. So anyways, my senior year, we're at a party one night. And this girl was at this party, and she's an attractive lady and stuff. And a buddy of mine was hitting on her and stuff. And he come over, and he had moved here after our freshman year, so he didn't know any of this prior stuff and stuff.
Right.
He comes over to me and he goes, "Do you know that girl?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I know who she is." He goes, "You know what she told me?" I go, "What?" He goes, "I introduced myself to her, and she told me her name." She goes, "You know, I'm that girl that guy killed himself over." That was her pickup line.
Damn.
I told him, I said, that ought to tell you what kind of crazy bitch that is.
Yeah.
She's
Get away.
Yeah, fucking nuts. But that was what she tells this kid. That's what
Yeah.
I was like. Yeah, I said, yeah, she's an evil bitch. I'd stay away from her. I think they're married, 3 kids, 2 divorces now.
French, very famous French actor. He was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. You see, Juicy Smouillet is gay and he is black, not just French. When he's walking down the street late at night, 2 white men came out of the shadows with MAGA hats on and beat him up. tied a rope around his neck, called him all kinds of niggas, and put some bleach on him, and ran off into the night.
Put some bleach
the
on
whole
him.
country was up in arms. He was talking about it all the time on the news. And for some reason, African Americans, we were like oddly quiet. We were so quiet about this shit that the gay community started accusing African American community of being homophobic for not supporting him. What they didn't understand is that we were supporting him with our silence, because we understood that this nigga was clearly lying. Juicy Smouye, he's very French.
But then he's like, yeah, and then the cops show up and he's still got the noose around his neck, and didn't make sense. So they knew. They knew before everybody else did. Dave Chappelle.
Old Chappelle.
The end. Like, that's it. There's not a greater comedian.
I can't argue that. I mean, he's one of the best ever. I don't even know.
Sure.
I liked Eddie Murphy. I liked Richard Pryor. I liked Red Fox. I liked Buddy Hackett. I liked Don Rickles. A lot of the old guys. I don't know any of the new ones. The fat guy was really funny that died. Ralphie May.
Oh yeah.
He was
Ralphie
pretty.
May.
He was pretty funny. There's just not a lot of them that I've seen that really that. I went and seen a guy one night called Mudflat McGrew or some shit. Him and Chad Prather were there, and Michelle hauls me to Dallas to see Chad Prather.
Right.
I don't think Chad Prather's that funny. This other fucker, though, white trash, he looked like a cross between Tiger King and Dog the Bounty Hunter. If they had an ugly kid, that's what this guy would have been. Steve Mudflat McGrew is his name, and he was pretty funny. He done cruises and stuff, and I used to follow him on all social media. But he made fun of some gay people or some black people or some Chinese person or a fat white lady or something, and they woke him, and
he can't make it now.
No, and that's too bad, because they've ruined a great thing. I don't even know what comedy. That'd be the only comedian I'd really go see right now.
Yeah, I'd go see him for sure.
I'd get Ron White, that was part of the Blue Collar Comedy
I
Tour.
like Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah,
A little bit of Larry the Cable Guy went a long way.
Yeah,
like that shtick kind of got old.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Yeah, Ron White was just kind of some old,
just
funny, crude stories.
Oh, yeah.
Just an old drunk up there.
Old tater
dragging it.
salad.
Yeah,
He don't drink no more.
No,
I
he just
heard that.
just does marijuana.
Is that what he does now? I know he didn't drink anymore.
California sober.
I think one of the biggest geniuses that was a comedian to ever play was Jeff Foxworthy.
Might be a redneck.
Yeah, and he took
It
that
went
into
a long way.
Yes, millions and millions.
Yeah.
Never cussed either on stage.
No, I would bet he's probably worth $500 million.
Oh,
He's been but he's really, really good. There's an old time guy that I know you guys probably never even heard of, a guy named Jerry Clower.
No, sure.
And that's sad because you're a country boy. Jerry Clower. Andy, pull Jerry Clower up.
Jeff Fox worth $100 million. So
I figured he'd be worth more than that. Pull up Jerry Clower, YouTube deal of Jerry Clower. Jerry Clower is one of the greatest. He's from southern Mississippi, Liberty County. That's where he's from in Mississippi, and walked on. Never saw or played in a football game until he walked on. The first football game he ever saw, he played in at Mississippi State as an offensive and defensive tackle. Walked on there, and anyways, he was a fertilizer salesman for Mississippi Grains or something. He was in Lubbock, Texas, doing a deal with a bunch of farmers, and he tells stories. He's funny. And the guy goes, "You ought to take a record of you doing stories." Yeah, I ain't got time for that. And the guy said, "I'm going to record you and send it off." This guy recorded him telling stories and sent it to MCA Records, and he became one of their top-selling albums of all times.
I'll be damned.
He is a funny son of a gun.
this says one of the top stories ever told.
Holler, "Hey, look, babe, y'all get this picture now. They treed up a huge sweet gum tree. You couldn't reach around this tree. There wasn't a limb on it for a while. Way up there, and I looked around at John. "Come on, John, tree's too big. You can't climb that tree." John said, "Ain't that tree. And all these swamps I can't climb." John got his brogan shoes off and took a couple of them squat thrust exercises and broke and run barefooted and broad jump way up through the air and popped the bottoms of his bare feet on each side of that sweet gum and then hung his fingernails in that bark. And then he commenced to shimming on up that tree like one of them REA pole climbers. "Knock him out, John." John got up into the top of the tree. Whoo, what a big on. "Knock him out, John." John reached around in his overalls and got that sharp stick and drawed back and punched the coon. But it wasn't a coon. It was a lynx. We call them souped-up wildcats. And that thing had great big tushes coming out of its mouth and great big claws on the end of its feet, and that thing attacked John up in the top of that tree. Whoa! Somebody do something! This thing's killing me! What's the matter with John? I don't have no eye to knock him out, John. Whoa! That thing tore John's overhaul jumper plumb off. Oh, eating John up. Dogs got in a fight. John said, you shut up, I can knock him out, John. Wow! John got feeling great pain. John knew that we toted pistols in our belts to shoot snakes with. John kept hollering, oh, shoot this thing. Woo, please shoot this thing. Mr. Barron said, John, we cannot shoot up in there. We might hit you. John said, well, just shoot up in here amongst us. One of us got to have some relief.
Put up in the deal, put Jerry Clower and house fire.
House fire?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
That's just a good old Cajun story.
He tells
and you know damn good and well they were running coon dogs and trees.
Oh, yeah.
Probably a bobcat.
But he's great when he tells these stories.
I don't know. Let me
click on what it is. It's
firefighters.
No, Jerry Clower. Go to the one on the right there.
That looked like the coon one again.
No, that's what he was wearing that day.
I'll go to YouTube and see.
He's one of my favorites. I listen to him all the time still. He's got tons of stories, and I've heard them all 10 times, but he is a great comedian, very popular in the South because people
Clay Reed could make it as a comedian.
Clay is very, very good and just tells real stories.
We've sat around some like varmint hunt sign-ins the night before. I mean, for 3 or 4 hours, it's like the podcast, but it's just one after another. Yeah. And hell, you've heard some of them 4 or 5 times, and you laugh just as hard each time he tells them.
Did you find the one with the house fire?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's it. Burning building. This is a funny one. This is one of my favorites.
That's right. I growed up at Route 4, Liberty, Mississippi. The county seat town was a small town. Volunteer fire department. It was in the middle of the summer. Big drought, no water. Everybody knew if a building caught on fire, it was gone because there wasn't no water. They just couldn't draw it up fast enough to put out no fire. One Saturday evening, a building caught on fire. Commenced to burning. The crowd gathered with their arms folded, squalling, watching the building burn because there ain't no water. About that time, here come Uncle Versi Ledbetter and Aunt Pat in the old truck. Had all of the young'uns with them. Ardell, Burnell, Raynell, W.L., Linnell, Odell, Udell, Marcel, Claude, Eugene, and Clovis is all hanging on that old truck. Oh! Everybody heard them coming, the fenders rattling. Blop, 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 blop. Here they come. And the crowd partied because they was coming pretty fast. And they run right on up on the sidewalk and right up in the middle of the fire. Into the fire, and they jumped off and took off the overhaul jumpers and went to flopping and stomping the fire. Wow, putting it out. Aunt Pat Ledbetter had her bonnet telling them, "Ho, stomp over him. Get it out. Wow, wow." And they stomped the fire out. They put it slap out. The folks cheered. Oh! The Ledbetters, they're heroes. They put out the fire. They passed a hat, took up a collection. Took up $31. Give the money to Uncle Versi. Said, "Sir, we love you. You are a hero." Said, "Tell us what you gonna buy with the $31. He said, "The first thing I'm gonna do is get the brakes fixed on that truck."
Oh, great.
I don't know that he ever cussed on stage either.
Really?
He talks about his relationship with Jesus Christ. He's a good dude. I really like him, but that's one of my favorites of all time. We just don't see comedians like that anymore.
First thing we do is fix those brakes.
Yep. But he's a country guy, and he told stories. Well, at that time, everybody could relate into, the country deal.
For sure.
He tells one story about his cousins. I think it was Eugene and Versi or something. They were on a train, and they were broke, and said they were gonna. I think they're selling possums. Is what they were gonna do. Catching possums, and he runs up on the train track, and he's got this red bandana. And he puts a deal behind it, and they slam the brake on this train, slides. That guy goes, "What the hell are you doing? I'm not going to run over you." He goes, "I've got some possums for sale and just want to know if you want to buy some possums." He goes, "I ain't got time for no. How much do you have for the possums?" "Well, we ain't caught one yet, but we're going to if you're interested in one," or something. But he was funny, but he talked about stuff that people in the South
could relate to.
And there was a guy named Louis Grizzard that used to write he used to have a syndicated column when newspapers were popular, and he was very, very good. And he was a Georgia. I think it was to Georgia. He was in Georgia. He was a Bulldog guy, but it was in every newspaper. But if you were from the South or a country person, you related to that.
Right.
And we just don't have that anymore.
I don't know where my youngest son got this, but he got into where if he goes and takes a dump, he gets. We don't have newspapers in the house, but we get those flyers for the grocery store. It's got the sales in it. He'll go sit down on the toilet and he'll
check out the grocery store specials.
Yeah. I don't know where he saw that.
Had to be watching on TV or something.
But I mean, I don't read the newspaper on the toilet, and I don't know where he would have seen somebody.
No,
read the news.
nobody does that anymore.
You got your phone.
I got
exactly right.
I got Twitter now, but like he had to have seen a movie or something where somebody's reading a newspaper on the toilet.
That's hilarious.
But I walked in the other day and I'm like, "What the hell are you doing, kid?" Just seeing what's for sale, Dad.
Helping mom out.
Helping mom out. See if there's any good.
He's 5 years old. We go to a dance recital this last weekend in Graham for Landon, our youngest granddaughter. While we're there, we're driving and it's raining and it's kind of wet and crappy. And what exactly did Jay say? Something like, "This isn't my cup of tea," or "not my thing." He goes, "This really isn't my cup of tea." He said, "You know what? Me and Judge can just sit in the back and we can do some other things while y'all watch this."
Judge is thinking, okay.
Pretty smart. A smart kid right there.
I got somebody now.
Have you been to one of those dance recitals for kids?
I never have, but they have one. I mean, every small town has one.
Landon's in Graham and does it, and those ladies put on a hell of a show. And they had
sure. And there's a lot of time that goes into it.
125 girls is what danced from
that's crazy.
Tall to big, and not a lot of big girls. So if you've got a daughter and she's big, put her in dance because she's going to lose a lot of weight. I did notice that.
A lot of flopping around.
Yep, but those moms and those ladies put a lot of work into that. And we went, and it was an hour and a half long, and our granddaughter danced 2 times. They have different groups that come and do it, and it was really a good thing.
Right.
The highlight, one girl fell.
She did.
And I heard Reese or Jameson say, "Ooh, that's my favorite part so far."
It's the best part.
Like a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then they had a big Taylor Swift, whatever the hell you'd call that, like 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah, the finale was Taylor Swift.
And Reese, Andy's oldest, was like, "This is devil worship music." And I was like, "Boy, you've been trained right."
Been hanging out with Judge.
But it was an interesting thing, and those girls put a lot of work into it, and I know it meant a lot to the girls.
For sure.
But it was definitely, for someone that had 3 boys, it was a whole new experience for me.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah. And I was told to dress up, so I wore a jacket and stuff. I was going to church.
Right.
And then I see other guys wearing dress like me now, shorts and a Columbia shirt, and I thought, boy, I got hosed on that damn deal.
Jeff, like Zach said, don't ever miss an opportunity to overdress.
Yeah, you look nice.
I didn't see you overdressed wearing a jacket.
Fuck if I didn't. I didn't have a jacket on.
No, because when I got in with the jacket, you were like, "Ooh, am I supposed to wear a jacket?"
I was ready to go get mine.
Yep.
I didn't want to be under Jeff, you know?
Then we went
Especially in the dress department.
We went to an Italian restaurant in Graham. It was very good.
Nero's?
No, it was
the other one.
Venetone's.
Venetone's? They had veal parmesan. It was very good. Very, very good. It was a good restaurant. The other one I've been at too. That's on the main square. That
Yeah, my
Nero's.
dad got kicked out of there. Got the police call. That's a good little story.
Well,
What did he do?
because we talked a story about you and alcohol and how your mom was mad at you. So let's hear about your dad.
This didn't have anything to do with the alcohol. He was actually going to a funeral up somewhere north of Graham. In his Suburban he was driving at the time, breaks down on the main street right there in front of that Nero's restaurant. He'd driven, anyway, that was short. But breaks down, his phone had died.
Oof.
Didn't have a phone charger. So he goes in the restaurant and asks the little gal at the front, desk, "Hey, could I borrow a phone?" So anyway, she's kind of standoffish, and he's like, "I just need to call my wife, get her to head this way." And so Anyway, she gives him a phone, and then he comes back in and says, "Hey, do you by chance have a phone charger where I can just charge my cell phone?" Well, here in a minute, he walks back out to his Suburban, and there's 2 cop cars that pull up. And, you know, he said, "Hey, officers, everything's all right. My wife's on the way." And they said, "Well, we're here for a harassment call." And my dad goes, "Well, I walked in the restaurant and asked for a phone and a phone charger." And so anyway, he goes back. They file a legal complaint for harassment that he had invaded this girl's space by going in and asking for a
Jesus.
phone.
God almighty.
This had to happen just recently then, last couple of years.
Well, yeah, it was probably 2 or 3 years ago.
My God.
And my dad's the most personable,
Yeah.
you know, good time,
Right.
you know. And so anyway, I mean, they filed a complaint, kicked him. You know, it was like a 3-year grace period.
So he's
He
got a
couldn't go back.
trespass and no trespass
He
fee.
goes, "Hell, they don't have to worry about me going back in there."
Yeah, no, I'll never stop at that establishment again. What the hell?
It's
Yeah.
crazy though how people are this way.
But
People are soft.
the little girl, yeah. And I mean, there were people in the restaurant. My dad was like, "You can ask all these other people." Like there wasn't. She felt threatened, and he literally went in.
To ask
You know,
for the
and
phone.
I, in this day and time, I mean, I guess most people have a cell phone on them,
Right.
so you don't hear that. I don't know. Caught her off guard.
Is your dad loud?
Yes, and
He's probably. I intimidate
he's
people,
6'3", 6'4". I mean, he's
Yeah.
a big guy.
and he's loud.
Yeah,
Because I'll make people nervous sometimes. I'm just, hey, how are you doing?
right.
You know?
No,
and-
but-
yeah. When I was in college, I used to do shit on purpose. I worked for a furniture store, and we'd go to the World Trade Center in Dallas and pick up furniture. And we would go to and it was a high end top furniture places. And we'd go there, and those little gay guys would get on there with their little thin ties and stuff. And so I would go out of my way to speak to them on the elevator
For
all the
sure.
time. Like, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
And I'd, hit them on the arm
Yeah,
and shit.
slap 'em on
That's
the
a
shoulder.
good looking tie and yank on it shit.
Scare 'em to death.
Whatever, when the next door that popped, them suckers jumped out. It didn't matter if they were going to the 25th floor and it was the 3rd floor, they'd get off all the time.
Oh, for sure.
And them guys, you can quit jacking with those people all the time.
Hell
just being
no.
friendly.
Yeah.
Just all I'm doing.
That's
Hey,
the
how
way
you
I was
doing?
raised.
But people were nervous.
For sure.
But that's ridiculous.
Yeah. That was kind of a sidetrack, but when you said Italian restaurant in Graham, I
that's
was
funny.
like,
There can't be but a couple of those in Graham, Texas.
yeah.
Well,
Graham's that's a cool little town
It
it's a
is.
pretty town. A lot of nice, beautiful homes there.
for sure.
That's where I would move.
Okay, you're a deer hunter. Very good deer hunter. What's your biggest deer you shot this year?
I shot one that went right at I think he was 182.
That's a moose.
He was good. He booked typical Boone and Crockett in the all-time book. But I was telling Andy earlier, we had a good year. We killed, I think, 4 deer over 170, handful in the 160s, and left a lot of good deer. This next year, with all the rain we've had,
That's what I was getting
next
at.
year is going to be provided it didn't just turn off completely hot and dry, it'll be a repeat of 2021 when we killed. I mean, we killed
Bunch of
some
mooses.
giants.
How many inches can a deer grow like from year to year? Like if you see a 150 this year, will he be a 160 this next coming year?
I would say on average somewhere around 10 inches. Those deer in 21 though, we'd seen all those deer, had pictures of them the previous year, and they were all roughly 170 to 175. And 2 of them went right over 200. The other one was 186. So, I mean, they're putting on, 25 inches. But that was an exceptional. It was the same as this year. It
Right.
started raining late or kind of into the winter, and then rained all through the spring. The difference this year, we haven't run any water to speak of. I mean, everything's green, but
You're not running any water.
our tanks are pretty rough shape right now.
We've had good running water in some places, and some places not. But we're very blessed from where we were at just 3 weeks ago with our playa lakes because we had enough
Hell,
rain.
y'all had 7 inches up here that one,
Yes.
or I guess the day the tornado came through.
Yeah, we had some big rains, and that was the catalyst. And then we've had good rains. We had 2 inches of rain again. What's the day? It was on Friday we had 2 inches of rain, or Thursday?
Right.
Thursday or Friday
No.
we had another 2 inch rain. And we're supposed to have a good rain tomorrow, and it's supposed to rain next week a lot. But we're wet, and so our deer horns are going to be really, really good here. But it has rained from October. I told Michelle yesterday, we went to Monday, and I said, we were talking about the fields right around Knox City that we hunt. I said, I forgot how wet it was because mud was a big factor on us last year hunting. There was a lot of times it was so rainy in January we couldn't even get into some fields.
Right.
And now here it is May 15th.
Still muddy.
Still muddy and water's puddled up in them same spots.
For sure.
And it's supposed to rain for another 4 weeks. Then after that,
And then La Nina is coming back.
Well, but I've heard it's going to be in a neutral zone now, and they don't think July and August is going to be no different than just normal. But they say we're going to have a huge increase in chances of hurricanes in July, August, and September.
Yeah, they're doing something. HAARP's doing something in Antarctica. They're saying it's going to be a very, very active hurricane season this year.
So you're on this HAARP thing now.
What was the other night, Jeff?
But so you're on the HAARP thing, as I'm asking.
I didn't say I was on the HAARP thing.
What about you? You know what HAARP is?
HAARP is?
It's a man-made weather module, basically, that controls the weather through lasers and stuff. Tony's been on this kick for 20 fucking years. And I keep telling him that, it's bullshit. But now Tony's like Alex Jones. Shit he's telling me starting to come true 10, 15 years later.
But they say the Northern Lights bullshit that we saw last couple days ago or whatever it is, it was all HAARP firing
supposed
up.
to be another one next week. So here we're going to be 2 weeks in a row.
Have
of
never
this
seen the
massive
Northern
Lights.
Never seen the Northern Lights this far south, and now we're going to see them twice in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and so that's.
Did you
see the Northern Lights?
No.
Let me tell you something. We went out and did the Northern Lights. Me and Shell did the other day. Dark. Everybody's got these pictures of this pink stuff all over their phones. These sky pictures.
Right.
So,
No, I saw some pictures of it.
Okay. Well, that was pictures. It was fucking sky was black. But when you put it on your camera and you took a picture, then all of a sudden you see all this pink and stuff, which I've never seen before. So, like, that's the skies at Knox City the other night. Now, with the naked eye, it was black, but when you look at it, it was pink looking.
And
you see pictures of all kinds of pictures like that.
Right.
But when I took it, this was the first picture I took before the video, and then I did it, and I was like, "Wow, looky there!" But it's just crazy how dark
wild.
it got.
And I just realized I ghosted you. You asked me how everything was going. My back room flooded. When you text me, I looked at my phone.
I'm the little radar geek, but I've watched that class, and it literally just sat right in here all the way up to Wichita Falls.
It just
all
kept building.
Day. It just sat there.
Like, it would move off, but it would build
Right back.
So my back, I had a gutter that went over my back door leading out of our bedroom. Well, the tornado had removed so much leaves and shit, and it clogged that gutter up. So we get out of the cellar, and that back room is flooded before, but we'd fixed it and we'd done all the things that we needed to do to fix it. So it was raining. I looked back there to make sure no water's coming in. It rained all day, and I never went back there again. And then I come back, piss and rain, and I look back and that gutter's just overflowing right down that door, right into our bedroom. So we were ripping out flooring when you text, and I was like, I'll get back to him in a minute. And then that ended up lasting. I think we ripped out flooring and moved furniture around it was probably 11 o'clock whenever we finished.
Good Lord.
And just turned on fans, and it was a fucking mess.
No,
My wife had been gone all day, so she's like, why didn't you come back here? You never came back. I'm
Andy.
like, fuck, I didn't have any.
Like you're lying about, no, hell, I didn't know it. I'm lying.
Yeah,
We won't say
I waited
nothing
for you to
Jesse.
get here so that I could see, we got water standing in our
Will
bedroom.
you help me with this?
You're right. Yeah. It was all a big ploy.
I chased tornadoes that day, and I left Knox City, and I drove all the way to Burke Burnett chasing, and then we turned around and came home. And when I left Knox City, it was hailing and pouring down rain. When I got to Burke Burnett, it was still hailing in Knox City. And I didn't go straight from Wichita Falls to Burke Burnett. I drove and stopped and chased storms in Mundy, Gorey, Seymour, went back west to Seymour, got on the tornado again, went up north by Lake Kemp, got on a tornado, ended up going to Mansfield, Iowa Park, stayed on tornadoes the whole way. It was a tornado, constant tornado warning, stayed on the same cloud.
Right.
But that's how long it hailed and rained.
Oh, it was crazy.
So it was, like you said, 6 hours. I left Knox. I think we went into a tornado warning about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think I left Burke Burnett at 7:30 because I knew I either had to make a decision. I was going to end up in Oklahoma City at 10 o'clock at night and have to come back home, or would leave to come back home. And I still got home about 9:30 at night. But it was one constant barrage the whole time.
It's crazy. And then that wasn't that Thursday or
no? That was on a Monday.
That was when did the Holly
or
tornado?
Sunday. That was a Sunday, and then the Holly storm was on Wednesday or something.
It was a couple days later,
Yes.
I guess. Yeah.
And then we went chasing in Oklahoma last Monday. Me and Tony and Jerry Copeland, our county agent, we went chasing, and we ended up in what's the name? Watonga, Oklahoma, crouched up next to a damn grain bin thinking we were going to die because I went through. I got on the other side. I got on the wrong side of the wall cloud because the roads were wrong. The roads that the storm was going northeast, and the storm and I had to. I had tried to get north of it to get down behind it again, and I never could get down behind it. But it tornadoed as soon as I got in the middle of it.
Right.
And the storm was moving 40 miles to the east within the tornado, and I was at 50 miles going to the east as fast as I could go in the hell, and I couldn't even see. So I had to slow down to about 30, and so that
it's catching.
It stayed with us.
Yeah.
We were in the rotation the whole time. Just,
Damn.
I mean, it was just right. And I was really, really worried. I couldn't see nothing.
Right.
There was nowhere to go. I mean, it was bad.
I've been wanting to ask you, like on the storm chasing, where do you want to be? Not that I'm going to go chase a tornado.
The southeast side of a storm is where I want to be, or the southwest side. If it's not rain wrapped, I've chased before. We're on the southwest side of a storm and it's moving east or northeast. I've been on a day before where I've seen a bunch of tornadoes and didn't even have to run my wipers.
It's not even
Stay dry. I stay dry even. You'd come through a town, there'd be flooding, the tornado sirens are going and everything.
And all that's out in front of
it's out in front of you, and you never ever get to it. That's a perfect day when it's not rain wrapped and you can see it. And then I've had days where, but you usually want to be on the east side of it. The best way to do is to run parallel with the wall cloud.
Side.
Yeah, if you can stay on the east side, then the storm cloud's coming at you, and you just keep hopping with the storm. So if the storm's moving east and you got a road that's running west to east, and you're going with that storm, and if you're staying in front of it just a little bit, the wall cloud, you can see the wall cloud the whole time. It's right there. You know, you're a mile away from it, and you stay with it, running parallel with it the whole time. That's the perfect situation.
And it looked like that's what happened kind of down there at Hawley, because I guess it's 277 that
those
runs
guys
south into Abilene, but it was right out there west of the highway, and they just took off. They followed it. Just drove right along with it.
That's the perfect
day.
day.
And then when it drop out, they'd film it, pictures.
Yep. And they play leapfrog. And it's crazy because on a big chase day, you might be in a line that's 3 to 10 miles long of chasers, solid freaking chasers.
Right.
And everybody they'll park. And then as the rain gets and the tornado gets to you, everybody will jump and go and try to stay where it's dry. And that's the kind of the whole way. And it's just a leapfrog the whole time. And it's crazy the way it works, but sometimes you make a wrong choice. And I screwed up, but it was due to a bridge. We had to get across the Canadian River,
right?
And you just couldn't go. You couldn't go. I had to either go south or I had to go north. Well, I took a chance. I thought we could get through it. It was rotation. It hadn't dropped. It was going to drop. We knew it, and we were going to try to get in front of it and come around to where we'd be right there when it dropped. Well, that didn't work. And then it was one lineup after another lineup after another lineup. So when we were at Watauga, we were into tornado warning, and the tornado cell went right south of us about a half mile. You could see it go by their school there. And then there was another one coming at us. So we ended up having to go north about 20 miles almost to Kansas and then come back around.
Gosh,
but it's fun. I love to do it. It's a very, when you wake up the next morning, you feel like you have a hangover. There's so much highs and lows. I mean, highs and down and highs and down. And then when you reach out, like the poor family in Hawley, you see the reality of it.
Oh, that was terrible.
And that makes a bad day. Me and Fred were at Drum Ride, Oklahoma one year outside of Tulsa. And we kept getting on a storm that way. And you'd come over the hill and you'd see the tornado. And then you'd go down the hill and you couldn't see it. And we got where we'd come over the hill and there'd be a house wiped out. People coming out of their cellar and stuff. And then you'd go the next deal and the barn would be knocked down. That tornado was just a couple miles ahead of us and we couldn't get to it.
Right.
But we couldn't see it because of the hills. But every time you come over the hill, you kept getting closer and closer to how close and it's just, we're wanting to see a tornado and these poor people just lost their house. And now insurance companies are going to screw you over on everything.
For sure.
You don't ever get what, people like a long time ago, they have insurance. Well, shit, all that means is they've got a whole long fucking month or two ahead of them fighting to get what's theirs.
Exactly.
Have you ever been in a tornado? Like down in the cellar and then come up?
I have not. We had one over in Albany 4 or 5 years ago. And at the time I was living out about 10 miles west of town. And of course your phone goes to sending off alerts. It's like 2:00 in the morning.
Ooh.
And I woke up and everybody's calling me, hey, there's a tornado coming right at you. Well, hell, I pulled a Jeff and got in the pickup. And I was, it's lightning all over the place, raining sideways. And I never did see it, because you're just looking at flashes of lightning at night.
Nighttime is very scary.
But that tornado had gone through Hamby, and then but the debris cloud, it had thrown, like we drove across the ranch for the next month. And you just be driving down a 2-track ranch road, and there'd be a piece of twisted tin or a busted 2x4. But the debris cloud, it was throwing stuff from the tornado at Hamby, wiped out a bunch of structures down there, and it had thrown that stuff all the way up west Albany.
When the tornado hit Wichita when I was a kid, it dropped the debris stuff. They found clear over in Warwick, Oklahoma, which is 30 miles away
That's
or something.
crazy.
And found stuff, and they found like it hit the Southwest National Bank, and they found checks and stuff from there. What's interesting is they had a tornado the other day at Devol, Oklahoma, which is right across the river from Burke by Granfield.
Right.
They had winds of 264 miles an hour. It's the second strongest mesocyclone storm ever recorded in the United States. 264 miles an hour. And it was a stationary storm, and it just sat in that little area right there. Those 2 casinos, or 3 of them now, are about 5 miles from there. Could you imagine something like that?
Sit camping out.
Oh,
right
there'd be money all over the place. There'd be people finding money all over.
Well, that'd be badass. I'd be a millionaire that way. Would I have to give the money back?
I wouldn't tell nobody.
Oh, they'd know.
I don't
There's gonna be signs.
I don't think they keep enough cash in there to change your life that much. But still, though, that would have wiped out everything. And that's that's one of those places that people all the time are like, well, I've got a safe room in my house. A safe room in your house is a good place to get killed at. You know, if it's just wind, you're fine.
Right.
But if it throws a car through that son of a bitch, it's going to kill you.
Right.
And those things are dangerous.
Well,
You
that's
need to be
what I
underground.
worry about my cellar. Because, like, it was probably built when the house was, so in the 50s. It's never been remodeled.
Well, you don't need to be remodeled. It's underground.
Yeah, but if a fucking Buick lands on top of it, Jeff, what's that going to do to the shit that's above me?
Well, you got to figure the chances of a car landing in it.
Or a tree. There's a tree right
the
by
tree will
it.
spread out over it. It won't.
Right.
You might have to take for 2 or 3 hours for us to cut your way out of it.
Well, and then we were standing in there and water started coming in. I'm like, fuck, this is just great. Tornado's going to miss me and I'm fucking drowned to death. Drown here with my family.
No,
That's
there
going
has
to be
been a
great.
lot of people that drowned in cellars, and that's a bad thing.
Has there really?
Yes. And that's where a lot of kids died in one of the big Oklahoma City tornadoes, died in the school.
Drowned?
Yeah, the basement.
Oh, no, we talked about that. They had pipes and shit.
Yeah,
I don't have any pipes
water
in mine.
pipe broke. I think 20 kids drowned or something in there. It's terrible.
That's bad.
It's bad. That's bad day.
So here's that anomaly off of Antarctica and Africa.
Hold on. Before we get there, we're talking about the fire. I want to talk about the fire department. You're talking about your deal. The fire department's going to come.
Yeah.
The guy sent me a message yesterday. Our volunteer fire departments are under attack by our government right now. OSHA is wanting to go take over all the volunteer fire departments to make sure they went in code.
That's bullshit.
Let me read what I was given yesterday.
Because, I mean, it's going to cost a fucking fortune to get up to code for all these small town fire departments, right?
I'm going to try to find where it was at.
I think something happened down in Albany with the city fire department in a sense of having to re-up on all their gear, all their fire suits, you know, but I mean, then you go into the fire trucks and pumps and...
Yeah, here's what it is. OSHA is currently in the commenting period of a complete overhaul of the fire brigade standard. The whole document is 600 pages. They're going to make us buy this guy's extra equipment, have extra emergency plans in place we won't be able to cover due to staffing. The most ridiculous requirement, we all have to take a roughly 108 hours per year of OSHA requirement training. Right now, it's about 8 hours. Now, small town fire departments are the backbone, volunteer fire department of every small town in America.
For sure.
They save a lot of lives. You know, I've heard people, they're just foundation savers. Well, they may save a few foundations, but they save a lot of lives. If they save one life, it's worth it. It's the guys that are volunteering their own time, their own money a lot of times. They do fundraisers.
Right.
Most cities don't pay for stuff. I know when I was mayor, we bought a couple fire trucks, you know, for the volunteer fire department, but it's for our community. Well, that you start making these guys do 108 hours.
You're going to run off a lot of the volunteers.
Yeah, well, I was like, fuck that. I don't have time for that shit. I don't mind helping. There's a wreck. There's a fire. I don't mind doing some training with my buddies here, but I don't have time to go leave my job and go to 2 weeks worth of freaking government training on anything. But that's what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to take over these volunteer fire departments.
And replace them with what?
No, they just want to run them all. You've got to go through our stuff. You got to have this equipment here. You got to do this. You got to do that. Well, they don't understand how small town fire departments work. It just doesn't work. That's typical Washington, D.C., big city stuff.
For sure.
What's good for the city of Houston is not good for the city of Albany, Texas.
No. And a lot of these small towns, I mean, they've got 2 or 3 trucks, and the volunteers, I mean, and I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but we've had grass fires, but guys show up in a T-shirt and a ball cap.
Right.
No fire suit, and they'll go fight fire with the best of them, get right in the middle of it,
Yeah.
And you're appreciative to have those guys there.
Yes,
but those same guys, if you slap that amount of training and then just as far as the department goes, I mean, there's going to be cost associated with upping all your gear, being certified or whatever. And I think you're going to run a lot of those guys off.
You're going to.
And you're going to wind up without, and,
Our volunteer firemen in town, our volunteer fire department here, I've been around a lot. I was a fireman for the first year we lived here 30 years ago for a year. And then I was on the city council and I was mayor for a long time. But I've been around. I'm friends with a lot of them guys, really good friends with a lot of them guys. They have the best equipment they can afford. They can't afford to go buy a $5,000 set of jumper pant or bunker gear, whatever bunker gear costs now. I mean, they have the best they have. And every volunteer fire department's the same way. They've got older equipment they have to use until they can afford to get something new.
For sure.
Their job to me is not to go into houses on fire. I've always told them guys, you shouldn't put your life. If there's nobody in that fire, put it out, but don't go in there and try to risk it to save that house. It's just not worth it.
Get the people out of there.
Yes. But if it wasn't for those guys, we would have so many other people accident, car wrecks. But once the government gets involved trying to oversee shit, it's all fucked up.
Here we go again.
And this is more government deal, but they're wanting to overdo these volunteer firemen. And there's a fire department, and there's a reason why, and I don't know what it is. I don't know why they just can't leave shit alone.
Right.
Do they have to cycle out that bunker gear?
I'm sure they do.
think so.
But the problem is let's say you have 20 pieces of bunker gear, and then you got 23 people come on, and they're like, well, we don't have $12,000 to buy 3 new bunker suits.
Right.
We got some old stuff they can use till we can have some fundraisers, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, they recycle stuff. They have to.
What flavor you got over there?
I got the menthols because they're sold out of everything else in Albany.
They're
rough.
They say that you're not gonna be able to find them anymore. I
Why?
think
You need to get on Nick. I've got a buddy down in Houston. He buys it on Nico Kick.
Nico Kick. You
can get packages of 50. It's $3 a can.
That's what it was at the hunting shows.
$2. I thought
it was $3.
it may be. I don't know. I don't do it, but I got some.
No. I think it was $1. I think it was $1 a can. But either way, like $3 a can.
Yeah, you can get 50 cans for $150.
I think I'd heard that one of the plants had a mysterious fire or something like that.
Oh, here we go again.
So,
Well, the Democrats were wanting to get rid of it to start with. So.
Why though? I don't.
Because it's bad for the underage kid. Not to harp on that.
It's nicotine though. I thought nicotine wasn't bad for you.
nicotine's not terrible for you. It's better than tobacco. Nicotine by itself.
When they had the flavored tobacco, I mean, that's not tobacco, but when they had the flavored tobacco
right.
in high school and junior high, we were dipping peach skull and.
And that's why they made them do away with that. I just figured nobody bought that shit.
Well, I don't.
Did you ever do like tobacco, like dip?
I dipped for 10 years probably.
Copenhagen or Skull?
Copenhagen snuff.
I bet that's the number.
can.
I bet that's the number one selling snuff in the world. It's Copenhagen.
How do you? So that's always my question. Is like I've dipped before and I got sick immediately, and I never did it again. Did you get sick the first time? Because Blake said he didn't, and that's why he just kept doing it.
Not the first time. I did get sick a couple times. I threw up one time in my my bathroom and paid my brother $20 to clean it up because I had the spins. Gone to dinner with my grandparents, and my deal was I'd go back to the house and get a dip of snuff in the shower, and then spit it out, brush my teeth, and everything was fine. And I got bad sick. Didn't make the toilet. Paid my brother $20, but I don't know. It's a nasty habit, but it was just I don't know. All the people I was around were doing it, and
Bucky dips.
That's
doesn't he?
too big a pussy.
yeah.
So I didn't do
Bucky
it.
dips. But I quit cold turkey. I was driving down the highway one day, and hell, I don't need this. Threw a full can of snuff out the window, and was dry from it for 2.5 years.
Really?
And went on a golf trip with a bunch of college buddies, and Zen had just
right.
come out, and they were like, "Oh, you need to try these." And
How did you handle that? Because I know a guy that I do jujitsu with. He was a Copenhagen long cut guy forever. Switched to Zens, and he says the sixes the first time put him into a tailspin.
Sixes they'll spin you every once in a while.
Is that the strongest one you've done?
That's
sir.
the strongest they make.
I thought they had those.
Some of the other companies have like an 8 milligram, but Zen's just
The Russian ones are 20, aren't
The
they?
Russian one was 20. When we hunted in Ontario with
Good gosh.
with who do we hunt with in Ontario? St. Lawrence Outfitters. There was a guide there, and he had 20s, and I had my
thanks.
3s, And like he opened the can and it was like smelling salts. He was like, here, just get a whiff. And I took a like that. It was like smelling salt. Like, what the fuck? He was like, the first time I did it, I thought a hole was getting burned through the front of my lip. Was how strong it was.
I can only imagine.
He said, my brother told me, because I guess his brother had him. And he said, you're going to want to sit down when you put this in.
Good gosh.
He left it in for a couple minutes and he's like, it was so strong, I felt like it was going to come out the front of my lip. And he said, I just had to lay on the ground and let it pass.
And he's still doing them.
Still doing them. I don't know how you can do that.
Good old nicotine.
So I just do the threes. Figure if I stick with threes, I'm not addicted because there's always a step above.
Yeah.
Fine.
I need to back down to the threes.
I only do one a day.
At a time.
One a day. I can't, not a double decker. Do you do the top lip or the bottom lip?
Bottom. It's just from dipping for that long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because some of the guides we have are like, no, you got to put in the top lip. It's a different buzz. But I don't know why it would be. It's your mouth. I don't know what top or bottom would.
Maybe the blood vessel there goes in there.
I'm a bottom.
Go to what you was going to do now about the harp.
Oh, well, Jeff, you see I scrolled down a little bit and it got debunked.
Oh, okay.
Fucking community. So anyway, this was this happened several times actually. It's just like a big wave that just shows up off the coast of Antarctica, and Africa is right there.
Right.
But they said 25-foot swells, and it lasted from 7 p.m. on Tuesday to Thursday, 8 a.m. But it's just that. But then if you scroll down, it says this anomaly was caused by a modeling error in this application. This has been confirmed by the creator of the application. Now, maybe they got paid off. I don't know. But that showed up. So that showed up, I think, the day of the eclipse that happened. And then it did it again in February, and then I think again in March. So there's been 2 or 3 times that this big blob in Antarctica is down here. So I don't know. That was just one of the conspiracy theories, but they said HARP was behind it. I don't know. But I'm gonna try to find HARP's involvement on the Northern Lights. See if I can find something.
What's HARP stands for? I can't remember what it stands for. But anyways, it's a weather deal. Supposedly it's been around for a long time. They says that's what caused the fires in Maui. Don't know if that's true or not. You know, tinfoil hat wearers think that they caused that fire in Maui. They think that a lot of people think that the wildfire in the Texas Panhandle was also caused by it. You know, power lines down and big wind will cause a lot of fires. There's no doubt about it. So
we've got a friend up there that burned off completely, and they've had several big fires. The fire, I'm not sure if the fire in 17 was caused by power lines, but he's had 3 or 4 in the last 2 years that were 10, 15,000 acre fires caused by power lines or like abandoned oil wells that, you know, everything was still hooked up.
What I don't understand is why, and I don't know the cost on this deal, but if you go to a big city now and big neighborhoods, new neighborhoods, there are no power lines. Everything's underground. I don't understand in these places like the Texas Panhandle, because after that fire, like 2 or 3 weeks later, it was going to have a red flag warning for high winds, and they were turning the power off to people's houses for like 12 hours when it's real windy. Well, if that's the problem, let's do some underground power. Let's take some of that Ukraine money and let's give it to the utility companies to put these power lines underground where it won't be that big a problem.
Well, they're rebuilding a big set of lines right there along 283, and I guess it goes from up around Throckmorton all the way south of Albany, and there's no telling what that cost. It'd be a hell of a lot cheaper to take those same lines, dig a trench, bury them, and be done with it.
Unless a farmer plows over them or something, nobody
that's all ranch land,
right? But nobody ever messes with them,
right?
Storms don't knock them out. Ice storms don't knock them out. Thunderstorms, none of that shit does. But it'd be
too easy, Jeff.
Yeah, I tell you one thing I was wanting to do the other day when I got on them tornadoes here, and they were right at west of Seymour on all that new shit on the Wagner Ranch. They're putting all those big windmills in. That wall cloud was going right at them. I thought, I want to see a tornado drop down and hit one of these wind farms. I want to see what it's going to do to one of these.
Oh, it'd be a freaking mess.
I would love if you work on a windmill, you're going to get to work longer because you're going to have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
But I would like to see what a tornado would do to a wind farm.
They cut one down out there between Abilene and Albany. It was I don't know what had happened, but the actual turbine was done for. They cut the base of the stand tower and just let the whole thing, didn't detach the blades, let the whole thing fall, and it shattered fiberglass all over the place, just out in the middle of the pasture.
Why would they do that?
Because they had to, I don't know how I guess you could disassemble them the same way you put them together, but it'd probably be cheaper to just fall the thing and then chop it up.
Fiberglass on all that ground's not good.
No.
They say there's nothing you can do to get rid of it. There's a place in Wyoming where they're burying the old broken down ones and shit.
Yeah.
It'll never.
No.
It's not recyclable.
So I found a little bit. So Harp had announced that they were going. Harp is like a real thing. I mean, now, does it do what people say it does? That's the part that, whatever.
But harp is a real thing now for sure. They are admitting there's a real harp.
Hold on. It says, let's see here. During a NOAA press conference held last week, scientists and forecasters for Space Weather Prediction Center told reporters they had warned operators of critical. Wait, that's not it. Oh, here it is. Okay. Conspiracy theorists online are suggesting that the auroras were actually caused by high-frequency active auroral research program known as HARP, an experiment for studying ionosphere. As it just so happens, the University of Alaska announced on May 2nd that HARP would be, doing tests May 8th to the 10th. And I guess that was when we had the shit that we saw here.
It's just weird that we've been our whole lives. And the Northern Lights, unless it was just some kind of anomaly in the wintertime, they have never been seen down here that I know of. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you had 2 days of it, and now we're supposed to have another one next week. And it's crazy. I saw the Northern Lights in northern Michigan or northern Minnesota 30 years ago, and it was really a cool thing to see. Right. It wasn't like that pink picture that everybody was showing here. It was actual,
had
you
colors.
could see the greens and mounts, the way you see it on TV and stuff. And that's what I saw. But now all of a sudden it's the normal thing. So I don't.
HARP is through the University of Alaska. Yeah, I mean, HARP is a real thing. It just, does it do what people are saying that it does? Can you weaponize the weather, basically?
See, I say you can't, because I've been in a jet flying way high and you see a thunderstorm off somewhere. And I just don't think we can create enough energy to affect that.
To generate it.
I just don't. And a lot of people think that the hurricane that hit New Orleans, was it Rita?
They make it rain in Dubai every day.
Well, you can see clouds here. That's not hard to do. I mean, we've seeded clouds for them. We've had a lot of rain.
Right.
I mean, it's not 100% guaranteed. But everything in Dubai, they've got the ocean, they got the moisture deal, they got all this shit, and it works out good, and that's why it's raining there every day.
They got a little bit too much rain last week.
I saw where they flooded one day, but I just don't think you can create enough energy. But they think that the hurricane that hit New Orleans went right on a track right up that town. They think that was what it was. I don't know if it was or not. But then 2 or 3 weeks later, they had another hurricane right down there. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
I don't think.
I don't trust anything our government does, though. I don't. So
I agree with that, but I don't know that you could control the weather.
See, I don't think so either.
If they can, I wish they'd send us more rain on the.
Well, if they could control
basis.
it and they're making it a drought and they're making us rely more on the government, I can see that happening.
For sure. You look at it that way.
Yeah. Okay. You're an Albany, Texas guy.
Yes, sir.
We're the home of the Hereford cattle, right? Is that where it come from?
Yeah, we pretty much all run Angus now.
But isn't it the home of the Hereford, though?
The home of the Hereford.
It's where it was invented or genetically tested or whatever it is. So, what's your thoughts on Bill Gates and all this damn plant-based meats and fake meats and shit they're selling and pushing?
I'm not a fan of it.
I've never eaten it.
Well, I'm not gonna eat it.
No, me neither.
And I think the vast majority of society is on the same boat, but I don't know. I just, there's nothing wrong with eating sustainable beef that's raised on grass, fed out in a feed yard, killed at a processor.
Yeah, I don't understand what the problem is. I don't get the issue with it.
You know, the stance that it's humane, no animals are harmed, all that I don't understand it. I don't get it, and I think it would cost. I don't know what it would cost to to produce this Beyond Beef or whatever they're calling it, but I just don't see it taking off and replacing the beef industry in the United States.
Not with the old people, but these young fuckers coming up, they're so weird. You just don't know what's someone that's a true vegetarian that doesn't have any meat. Isn't their bone brittle? Isn't their bones pretty brittle and stuff?
Sure, you'd have to supplement.
Well, then why not just have beef if you got to supplement something?
Because
Take vitamins.
Well,
Nope.
what's in those vitamins?
So if shit you need, I mean, you could do protein powder, make up for the protein that you're not getting.
Well, where's the protein come from?
Whey?
Yeah, and where's that come from? A cow.
I don't know,
It does. It's where it's from. It's the byproduct. It's
but
what
I'm
cheese
sure
goes
they've
on.
got. I'm
it's-
sure they've got other.
That's what I'm saying. Everything there's supplement.
it's tied back.
Yeah, people all the time. You know, killing animals. You're wearing a fucking leather boot. You got shoes on their leather.
Where do you think that came
Yeah,
from?
yeah, exactly.
That's
You know,
That's how we got to today.
Yes.
It goes back to the oil and gas industry.
Yes.
We're dependent on fossil fuels. We have been for years. That everything that you have today is a byproduct of oil and gas. I just, all the green energy, we're going to change it to this, plant-based beef. Like, what's wrong with what we have right now?
I had a guy tell me in New York, I guess, a couple of deals ago. He was like, "I'll ride a bike everywhere we go." What the fuck you think them tires are made of? That fucking bike you're riding? Do you think that bike don't have no oil on it or any kind of grease on it?
The paint,
You're
the
fucking
aluminum,
clueless. Unless you're fucking floating down the river on a fucking log,
right.
something that you're using has got some kind of oil in it.
For
Every
sure.
bit of it. Those green energy, them windmills, they can't run without fucking oil.
No.
Never one of them. Not
You
once.
look at those lithium battery fires on the
Yes.
the electric cars. I mean,
It's just crazy how stupid we've got. It's kind of like eating a pizza with a cauliflower crust.
it's not.
I'm not going to do that because I like the regular pizza.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, it tastes the same." No, it's fucking cauliflower. It can't taste the same.
No, I
And
want my bread.
Yes, and it may taste good.
Right.
But it's cauliflower. I had a buddy of mine made asparagus one night when we were in college. He's like, "I can make an asparagus taste just like beef." Excuse
No,
me. I'd rather have that
that's-
fucking beef.
Give me the
give me the
ribeye.
steak.
Yeah. No, it's
I'm looking. So it says here that you could make it from peas. From peas, you could make protein powder somehow.
Well, that sounds exciting.
I mean,
Have some pea powder or eat a ribeye. I think I'll have the ribeye.
yeah.
soy protein, completely plant-based protein, making soy protein powder, an easy way to get all amino acids your muscle needs.
Well,
But it says a lot of vegetarians will do like whey protein. They just won't eat meat, but they will.
Supplement.
they're hypocrites.
But vegans, nothing animal based.
Boy, them fuckers would be fun to be around. Imagine going out to eat with a vegan.
Be a cheap date. We're gonna have. I'll have the lettuce and the water.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's it.
Perfect. You're right in my price range, baby.
That can't be healthy though.
No.
Little skinny little bastards, somebody bitch slap them, knock them out of the car. They can't weigh no.
Nothing against city people, but you look at a lot of these little farm raised kids that have grown up on beef and potatoes and go out and work every day. Well, shoot.
Yeah, but you said something that all they're against work.
Well,
They don't want to work. Well, it's hard to find country kids that want to work these days. It's not as easy as it used to be. I mean,
No,
when I first got in business,
used to have 2 or 3 kids every year that would, kind of approach us working summers on the ranch.
you probably had more kids than you had jobs.
For sure.
Yep.
And it's grunt work, but they're happy to get out and make a little summer money. Shoot, this year we've got 2 college kids that have come back, but as far as the younger kids go, we haven't had anybody approach us.
I worked on for Oak Farms on a damn milk truck. There was a swamper on it. That was a fun job. Got to go around, do different places, see people, do shit. Then I got my first real job when I turned 16 is I got a job at Albertsons as a sacker, grocery sacker. Fucking hated that job. To today, right now. I always feel sorry for the poor sucker because everything that happens in a grocery store that's wrong, the poor sacker gets bitched at about it.
Oh, yeah.
Cost of milk cost too much. It's bread. I got some meat the other day and it was sour or whatever it was. Fuck,
I'm just
I'm
sacking
making
the groceries.
$3.35 fucking cents and I got to wear this blue fucking tie with this white Oxford shirt on. at Kemp Street with all my buddies are coming in here with all these hot girls are doing
Right.
riding up and down Kemp Street, and I'm fucking sacking groceries.
Jacking with you.
Yeah. Fuck no, I hate this job. And I hated it.
Yeah.
Absolutely hated it.
But you were out working.
Well, I had to have a job.
Right.
I never had a choice.
Right.
I went there, and then I went to Kmart, and I worked in Kmart, and I worked on the garden center outside. I like that.
That probably wasn't
Unloaded
bad.
trucks,
Yeah.
loaded up trucks. People bought shit. That was not a bad job.
Yeah.
But the grocery sacking, every
No,
time I go to
thanks.
grocery store. And now we go to United is where we buy groceries at Market Street. It's the nicest grocery store, I think, in Wichita Falls or Abilene.
Yep.
But customer service is getting harder and harder at United. They don't have near the sackers that they used to.
Yeah.
So I end up sacking and taking our groceries out a lot of times.
Right.
And then when I do it, I tip, and then they get pissed. We're not allowed to take tips. Fucking don't tell them.
Put it in your pocket.
Yeah, it's $5 Put it in your pocket. I buy you half a burrito at Taco Bell's expensive as shit is.
For sure. It was interesting. I was listening to y'all's last podcast about the damn problem at Academy. Every time you go in there,
It's awful.
they've got 10 cash registers and one person.
Yep. They want to close them stores down. Is what I've been told. I haven't had nobody from Academy reach out, but
it's
it
a
makes
joke.
sense. It's terrible. It is absolutely terrible to go that place. And they have got the market cornered when it comes to youth sports.
For sure.
I mean, softball, baseball, football, everybody goes to Academy to get all their stuff. And I don't understand why it's so hard to have a couple of people as cashiers. I think
agree.
eventually we're going to get into a trend where people are going to want to go back to stores and get customer service.
Did you ever have a shitty job that you look back on now and you're like, fuck, that was terrible?
No, I mean, all my jobs were kind of ranch related. And
So you
it's
never
all-
did anything that you were just
No,
like,
I wasn't ever in a store.
You never worked at a gay strip club?
No, sir.
That's a good thing.
No. No. But I've been fortunate. Always kind of had a passion for what I do, and
well, I mean,
kinda
and
tried
you're not afraid
kinda
of hard work. So I mean,
tried to stay on that track. Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to find shit you like to do. I mean, it's simple in life. That's if you want to beat life,
you don't ever have to dread it.
No.
Or you get up and go do what you
Yep.
love, and
find a job you like. You may not make as much money, but if
Right.
you find something you like to do, and people listen, it's like, well, yeah, it's real simple. Say you're in the hunting business. Well, it didn't just happen.
right.
I mean, I had to make that happen, but I enjoy what I do, and it makes days a lot better. I mean, I couldn't imagine being a
sitting in an office
fuck no.
8 hours a day, and yeah.
I flew on a plane with a guy not long ago, and he was a real small, Simon Birch looking little sumbitch. You ever remember that show?
No.
You never seen Simon Birch?
No.
That was great. Do you remember that show, Andy?
I'm sheltered, Jeff.
Oh, it's a show with what's the singing lady that died? Her mom was a
Ashley
drunk and
Judd.
died. Ashley Judd
Yeah.
is in it. She was smoke show in this show. Anyway, she's got a son that's like, I don't know if he's special needs or not, but he's like 5'2", and he's not much of an athlete. And his mama gets hit by a baseball and kills her in the game or something. But he's Simon Birch. But this guy looked about like him, little sawed off little knobby bastard. And he was bitching about his job and shit. I'm like, fuck, get another job.
Right.
You know, I can remember he was an accountant for some company or something.
Right. Go do something
Yeah,
else.
find you another job then. But just he was miserable, and I felt sorry for him. I thought, man, that sucks.
Yeah.
when do you start noticing like, okay, that one there, he's got the potential?
I try to give them a name, and that sounds stupid, but at 3.5 years old,
So
you can kind of tell if they're going to have what it takes to be one of the big boys.
So a 2-year-old, you still don't know.
Well, sometimes the 2-year-olds will show some potential, but most of the time they're going to be, little 8s or maybe a 10, but by the time they're 3.5, like sure enough big deer will be 12s or a 10-point with big G4s. You can kind of see some characteristics and give them a name and, just kind of pay attention to them. And we watch it, run trail cameras, document everything, and then try to get them to 6.5 years old. And, it doesn't always work that way. You lose some just the natural causes. Neighboring ranches will, kill a few here and there, but we feed kind of on the interior of the ranch and try to
keep them
keep it
in the center.
more or less. And we're lucky we've got big enough country that it's pretty much a high fence without having
Right.
a high fence.
Right.
But you control where their feed is, and reduce the chances of them going somewhere else, getting hit on the highway.
Can you ever tell like, oh, that deer, this was his daddy? Can you ever tell that?
Oh yeah,
You can?
yeah. And they say that like the genetics don't, if a buck breeds a doe, it's not necessarily going to have a buck fawn that looks exactly like the buck. But there have been deer over the years. The deer I killed last year he had to have been a son out of a deer I killed in 2016.
Really?
Yeah. But
You just can tell.
Same area of the ranch, same characteristics. Had a fork on one of his G3s, but I mean, and I've got both of them in the house, and you look at them side by side. Of course, the deer last year was he was 20 inches bigger than the one shot in 16, but it's got to be the son out of that deer.
Your biologist could take the hair and do a DNA test on it and see.
I'm sure you could, yeah.
And they could check it and see.
What would happen in the wild? Like if you weren't out there hunting these deer, would the sons run the dads off? Or would they just leave on their own to go make their own, like start spreading their own genetics?
I don't. Jamie Neal and I were talking about that, and there's one thought that those buck fawns will leave out and go a mile or two, get out off kind of in a different territory, away from where they were born. There's other thoughts that they stay within, mile and a half radius, their whole life. I can't really speak to that, but
like I just always because
the older, but I will say like the older those deer get, once they get up 6.5, 7.5 years old, you got to think of it like in relations to humans. Those little 3 and 4 year olds are your high school and college kids,
right?
They're running around chasing everything. They want to get everything bred. Those 6-year-olds, they might breed, 2 or 3 doe.
Really?
Maybe 5. Yeah, but I mean the statistics show that your older deer are not the ones out doing the majority of your breeding.
So what would be like 6.5 in the wild? Is that pretty much?
That's the end.
That's the end for the deer in the wild.
We've killed them at 7.5, 8.5, and they've still had great antlers. But you're also chancing it with each passing year. I mean, they're going to get old. You have a bad cold spell during the winter.
Whitetails don't usually see 10.
No, they down in South Texas they will, but they don't have the winters that we do up here.
So that's what knocks them out's winter. An old timer out here that shoots a lot of big deer told me 20 years ago. He said everybody wants to shoot a 160-inch deer, but if you want to shoot a 160-inch deer, you can't shoot a 150-inch deer.
Correct.
And if you want to shoot a 170-inch deer, you can't shoot a 160.
Correct.
And he goes, that's the problem is nobody. And he told me one time, like for every 100, there's 10 150-inch deer for 160-inch deer,
right.
And there's 10 160-inch deer for 170-inch deer.
For sure.
And he said that ought to tell you how many 150-inch deer you got to let pass if you ever want to get one a lot bigger, unless you live in a certain area that's got really good genetics like y'all do.
I will say in the last 5 years, and I'll just speak on Shackleford County, but everybody is pretty much on the same protein program. We'll start. I've got feed coming on Tuesday, and so we'll feed from now through September, and then you feed January through whenever your green up is in spring. This year it was early. I filled them up the 1st of March, and that was it. Everybody has started feeding though, and there have been some giant deer killed in Shackleford County, and everybody's kind of on the same program, exactly what you're saying. You can't go shoot a 160-inch deer and expect to shoot a 180-inch deer.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
You've got to pay attention to them, let them grow, let them reach maturity.
A 160-inch deer that's maxed out, yes, to shoot.
For sure. And there's plenty of deer. There's a lot of deer that hit 140, and that's their peak. But the big deer that have potential, you've got to let them go. And it's hard. I mean, we have people that come out and hunt. Well, what's wrong with him? Well, he's 4.5 years old.
He's got 2 years to go.
That's the biggest deer that I've ever seen. Well, come back in 2 years and we'll look at him again. And we've done that on several. We've had hunters that have seen these deer at 4.5 and, kind of put a name to that deer and say, hey, Andy's going to come kill this one. And I had a guy this year, he'd seen that deer for 3 years, tried to kill him last year, never saw him, and came back this year and he was right at 170. But it's fun. I've really enjoyed it and still learning. But
do you get emotionally attached to these critters? Because
it's kind of
you've spent 6.5 years with some of them.
Yeah, I mean, not emotional, but it is kind of sad because you check all these game cameras and see them on the hoof and find their sheds, just everything that goes along with it, and then that's the ending chapter when you
Yeah.
run an arrow through them or put a bullet in them. That's it.
That's the life cycle.
Yeah.
Do you think, how long do you think before you start seeing a 220 to 250 inch deer? Not a unicorn that's just one of a weird deal, but where you literally start seeing, because in the last 30 years, the deer horns in y'all's area has progressively jumped up. Now, there were some big ones before.
For sure.
But you're seeing more, just like if you go down to the Golden Triangle, they were shooting 180 inch deer 20, 30,
And
40
now
years
they're
ago.
killing 220 inch deer.
Right.
Down there.
So
I think you'll start seeing more kind of in the 190s to 200, maybe 210. I don't know that I don't think we don't have the country, the vegetation that they do, just the natural protein that they've got down there
to make it.
And we've got a harder winter on them. One thing though, you keep getting these high fences that go up here and there. Water gaps go out, deer get out. So, I mean, as time progresses, I do think you'll see some 220, 230 inch deer killed. Now, that's not necessarily a native deer out of native genetics that.
But it was a fair chase deer.
Yes.
Did you see the video of the deer like that's in the people driving down the road and some bitches in the ditch eating? It's 230, 40 inch whitetail somewhere.
Oh, hell. Up in the Midwest, there's videos all over Instagram, but, people have 220 inch deer eating in their backyard.
Yes, this is like crazy.
It's wild.
I saw a video the other day. I shared it to the podcast page. A skunk was eating a fawn.
I saw that.
Little baby fawn.
Bleating and hollering.
And a skunk had it pinned down.
Really?
So the guys that took the video, they ran the skunk off. Didn't get sprayed. But it was in the middle of the day. I don't know if that thing had like rabies or something.
Probably.
It was I bet I could find it. But yeah, I felt bad for the little. And the guy
wild.
was like, most of the time, like, I'll just kind of let nature take its course. But
a skunk?
a skunk pinning it down, like, I don't.
Go find something else to eat.
I don't think this is how. I don't think this is how you want to go. Let's see. It's not on TikTok. Go figure. But yeah, it was just a weird thing. I've never would have thought. Like, I knew skunks are pretty bad for turkeys and everything, but I never did think that a skunk
Would go after deer.
would go after a fawn. But this little bastard was. Oh hell, here's another one. Oh,
Jeff, back in the day, did y'all have wild quail up here?
Yeah, when I first got in business up here, as a kid, we used to quail hunt a bunch.
Right.
We duck hunted, and then when duck season in, my dad we'd quail hunt, and we used to do a lot of quail hunting around Buffalo Springs, Texas. Do you know where that is? It's by Windthorst, east of Windthorst. I think it's Buffalo Springs is the name of the town, and our doctor owned a ranch there,
Right.
and we would hunt there. Yeah, that's it right there.
I'll be damned.
yeah, it was underneath a tree whenever I saw it.
It's a little bitty rascal.
Little bitty guy.
Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, like I said, it's middle of the day.
That's wild.
I'm surprised the mom didn't come and piss stomp that skunk. That sucker's loud, boy.
Yes.
Well, you can go coyote hunt. In the next month, they really should start dropping fawns the end of this month, 1st of June. But you can go out and turn a fawn distress on, and those doe, they'll run right up to the damn pickup.
Try
Oh,
to help.
really?
Yes,
So they're everywhere.
I'm talking pissed off.
What's crazy is the deer that I seen. We had some fawns here last year. November had spots still.
Yeah,
Late,
there were
late,
some late fawns.
late fawns.
Why? What is that about? Just
Didn't breed up the first time, and they caught them. And I mean, you'll see bucks chasing doe into January. Hell, there was a buck chasing a doe 2 days after, so that'd have been February 15th, and it was like, hell, these bucks are already losing their antlers, and
Right,
this
and he's
deer
still-
is chasing this doe across a grass field, running wide open. There's no
She was cycling there.
Yeah.
Yep.
so it's about 7 months that they'll carry a fawn or a baby. So November would be, like you said, end of this month. Thanksgiving would be right about first part of June.
Yes,
So, like you said, if you don't catch them until late January, then you're pushed back. When will they lose their spots?
Seems like every year, first of bow season, there's still a handful that have spots. So that's October. I'd say, usually those doe will kick them off end of October, 1st of November when they're getting ready to come back in. And
They'll No more.
Wean them, whatever you want to call it.
That sucks.
Yeah. And
Little guy, he's not ready to go out. He's not ready to face the cruel world.
But I mean, sometimes they hang around with the doe, but a lot of times, especially when you get into the rut, you'll have those little yearlings come in to feed. They're by themselves, or they'll group up. There'll be 2 or 3 yearlings. They'll have their own little gang, and
Jake's out there. Just
we've got our regular.
We need to talk about the turkey hunt.
We've got our regular deer that come here all the time. Our does with their little babies and stuff. And I had one had a little limp. I watched all year long. Finally, the limp kind of went away on it. But I'm worried this year. These damn ditches around here are gonna be 8 foot tall, and they ain't gonna mow them much, and it's gonna be dangerous driving at nighttime around here
for sure.
Because
one thing is, the pastures are going to be in good condition.
Yeah.
I know the bar ditches will stay green a little bit longer, but like the guy I work for, he loves picking up deer sheds. Like 2 years ago, picked up over 600 antlers in 3 months. And this year he might have picked up 20 or 30.
Grass too tall?
Well, the grass got tall, but there was so much green out in the pastures. The majority 2 years ago were all in wheat fields because that was the only green.
And they jump over the fence and they fall off.
The fences, or they just stay out there all night eating wheat, and they'd fall off when they were grazing. But we hardly found any sheds this year, that's a good sign because they're getting what they need out in the pasture.
Do you ever watch Yellowstone Wardens on Discovery?
Every once in a while.
I like watching it of all of them. I like the ones in Montana, and I like the ones in New Hampshire. The Texas ones is the same stuff over and over again.
Going to the lakes, catching the people on the jet skis.
Yeah, it's the same stuff. But I like Montana because they're dealing with bears and things we don't have a lot of here. But those people, they open up them lands for those shed hunters, and people are waiting in line to get those damn horns. I mean, they got buggies, they've got horses. One guy last year blocked the gate where nobody else could get in. They put all the air out of his tires. They had to call the cops babysitting the shit. But that shed hunting is a big thing in some of those western states.
Oh, for sure. And they're picking up big elk sheds.
Oh, big ones.
Big mule deer sheds. It's not your little old rinky-dink whitetail down there.
I think they're selling them to China where they grind them up to give you hard Peter medicine, I think.
Do you have to have a license in some of these states, don't you?
I think you have to just have a hunting license. I don't think they sell a shed license.
Because there was one, it was like a sting. The guy had like a big old elk antler, threw it out there.
Some of them you can't pick a. I want to say maybe out in Arizona. I may be completely wrong. But
wherever they were,
there's a few states that you can't. Yeah. Like if you walked up on a dead head, just a dead skull, that's property of the state. You can't pick it up. You can't claim it. You just got to leave it. You can take a picture of it.
Because it was like whenever they put like that, the turkey or the deer mount or whatever and get guys to shoot it, they did this with a elk antler. And sure enough, Jim Bob picked it up and
brung
his ass up.
This has nothing to do with sheds, but there was a poaching ring back in the 80s or 90s in Texas, and a guy was selling trophy hunts on high fence ranches and stuff, and he would take you in and hunt them at nighttime, and they would shoot the deer. And then they would cut the horns right at the base, and then they would take wire them and hang them in a tree somewhere and wire them up, and then would go back in the summertime and pick them up when nobody was expecting them. And somebody like Texas Parks and Wildlife, somebody did an article, and I read the article, and I wish I could find it now. But it was a guy he was a poacher. I don't think it was Charles Beatty, but it was a guy poaching. Yeah. But that's what he was doing. But they would get them, and they'd cut the horns off where you'd get your horns, and then he would get your horns to you in June or July. But it was at a time where they did have GPS because he could GPS exactly where he was at.
That's crazy.
But he would take some baling wire and take those horns and put them in a tree somewhere and wire them there, and then go back and get them in the summer when nobody was expecting him.
Yeah. Did you know, speaking of like geotagging, did you know that if you don't have a setting turned off on your phone, and you post that picture to Instagram, if somebody's smart enough, it's like a baseball card. They can flip it over and see all the information. When, where,
Game Warden's like, and if I don't know how they get the warrant, but they could access your photos. Yeah. If they suspect that you killed a deer, if they find that photo, it's tagged to a specific location, specific time, and they can pin you on that picture.
Because a guy that I know, I was talking to a guy. So yeah, here's a picture of my son last night. So like on iPhone, if you'll just like scroll up like that, like everything's right there.
Yeah.
Taken at my house. Taken
on any base pictures or just on yours?
No.
Well, no. So, like, if I were to post that to Instagram, if somebody's smart enough, they can get all the information just like right there in my phone. If that setting's not turned off, which I don't have it turned off. But so there was a guy. He was banding birds, and he took a picture of a wood duck banded. She was on eggs, so she's sitting on her clutch in a wood duck
And she's
box.
going to stay there.
Took a picture of her, and like he knew like any day those eggs were going to hatch. So he was checking it quite frequently. Well, then he went out there one day, and the hen was gone, and the eggs were cold. And then he got to looking and found her with her neck wrung in the bushes, and the band was taken off. But he had posted that picture online. Somebody was smart enough to look at the back of it, see where that wood duck box was.
They're coming after him.
And they went, they fucking threw the book of this.
They should. What a piece of shit to do that.
Lost his hunting license and all
You know
sorts
what?
of
Catch
shit.
that fucking hen if you want that fucking band so bad. Take the band off and leave the fucking hen alone. I mean, she's going to go right back
But I just mean like as far as like big deer and everything, like if somebody's smart enough.
And that's the deal too, though. Like you were talking about back in the 80s and 90s, like poaching wasn't you got a $1,500 fine and
Right.
it
It
was
wasn't
a
that much.
slap on the wrist. Like now,
yeah,
it's a felony charge. They confiscate your gun, your pickup.
You're done.
Suspend your hunting license. Like it's such a penalty now. And everybody's got cameras out all over creation.
That's my problem with Bigfoot.
No,
There's cameras everywhere. Somebody get it on picture.
Maybe up in the mountains, but I don't think around here.
No. But you're right. But back then, if you got a $250 fine, now $250 fine in 1985 was a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's cheaper than being on the deer lease.
Johnny Hudman made the comment. There's an old pumper somewhere out there north of Albany, but he was notorious for shooting one every once in a while, pumping his leases. And he explained it to Johnny. He said, "Why would I pay you $3,000 for a deer hunt when I can go shoot one on my own and chance having to pay $1,500?"
Right.
And Johnny's like, "Well, it makes sense. You know, you can't hate the guy for
No, that's exactly right.
thinking." But it wasn't a penalty back then.
No, it wasn't a felony. It was just a damn misdemeanor fine. It's like a speeding ticket.
Yeah. But now they throw you under the jail.
Yeah.
They should.
But there's a hell of a lot of money made on wildlife. Whether it's ducks, geese, deer, turkey.
$1 billion industry.
For sure.
It's kind of like the old adage of, well, my family's hungry. Well, you know what? If your family's hungry, go shoot a fucking cow.
That
a lot easier to get by with that.
There's plenty of people that will donate deer.
Well, yeah, you can get that.
You can't.
Yeah. I'm going to bet you that half the deer leasers in Knox County, if you went to them, I bet half of them, if you were going to clean it and they took it to you, they'd be more than happy to get rid of it because a lot of them don't want the deer. They don't want to eat the meat.
We've got people
Bucky's
that come
always
out,
trying to get rid of deer meat.
No, well, we have to. I mean, on the we'll shoot somewhere around 150 doe a year. I can't house 150,
So you have to have
deer carcasses. Yeah, I mean, I give it away. Hunters for the Hungry. I've got families in Albany that, they'll take 5 to 10 deer a year, but they eat off of that meat.
Yeah.
The rest of the year.
One of my old game wardens here told me one time, he said, what's funny is that some bitch that's hungry, kids are hungry, won't get their lazy ass up to clean a deer in the middle of the night. He said, I've got some people I can call it. Well, you going to clean it for me? Fuck no, I'm going to bring you a deer for your family.
Exactly.
I'm giving you a whole deer.
But I'm not skinning it. I'm not quartering it up.
Right.
Well, I don't have anywhere to hang it. Well, call your neighbor over there and hang it in his tree.
Yeah, do something.
Y'all can both skin it out.
If you really want some food for your family,
Right.
that opportunity is there.
Yeah.
And I don't, but but that's the adage is, well, I just poach a deer. Go poach you a cow. Be a whole lot easier to find and be easier to get by with it.
How long does it take you to gut a deer? Start to finish.
I gutted one, I think that was 2 years ago, and it was like 13 degrees. It was cold as shit. And I'd already wrung her, but it was just a doe, but wrung her butthole out, got everything ready, and set my timer on the tailgate, and start to finish was 32 seconds.
Fuck. That's fast.
But it was cold, and I'd say the average deer takes a couple minutes.
But still, like 32 seconds. I'd like to time myself cleaning a goose. Like that's, you almost had a whole.
But you
deer.
do so many of. I mean,
Right.
it's you get a sharp knife, and your cut you're gonna make. Reach up there, cut the windpipe, jerk everything out.
That's
done.
This is me looking through a rifle scope, and I look at this animal, big deer, 180-inch deer, and I'm like,
hours of work.
I gotta gut
that's
that
exactly
thing.
what I'm doing. I'm like, Do I really want to fuck? There's Monday Night Football on tonight.
That's like they say. Deer hunting's like jacking off. It's all fun and games till you pull the trigger. You got a mess on your hands.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, I really don't want to clean this son of a bitch. I don't like to eat deer that much anyway. So you know what?
Not when you can eat beef.
I'm like, fuck this. I'll just go buy me a steak. That's me. I'm not shooting that deer. But that is me. I had a guy last year or 2 years ago. We had a guy up here on the hunt, and he's like, listen, can we use your cleaning area down there? I go, well, we've already cleaned your geese. Yeah, but someone ran over a deer up there, and the game warden told me I could have it. It's in really good shape. It's just the front of it. You might no, that guy cleaned that damn deer out in there. Fucking roadkill.
No
kill. Yep. But it broke its neck. The deer ran into the side of a car.
Right.
And he fucking gutted it and cleaned it. And he was as excited as could be. He said, I'm not on a lease this year. And I thought, yeah, that's good.
Do you skin and quarter them for the clients?
If they want them to, the processor we use, you just gut them, take it. They've got cold storage. You take them in there, and they do the rest.
What was the last deer you like did the whole thing on?
I mean, so a lot of the taxidermist that we use, he's out of his garage. He does Corey, who comes up here and duck hunt or goose hunts with us every year. Does outstanding work, but he doesn't have a facility to hang them up at his shop. So like, I'll have to skin pretty much all the trophies we kill, skin them out, and that's tedious because you don't want to cut the hides up. But as far as skinning and quartering one, I guess the last one I did was I shot a mule deer out in New Mexico 2 or 3 years ago and killed him 9 miles from the pickup. And Jeff, you talk about look through the scope and pull the trigger and think,
yeah, got fucked up.
I really just shit the bed. But luckily I had another guy with me, but we quartered that deer up because in New Mexico, you've got to take neck, meat, everything. Quartered him up, put him in game bags in our backpacks and the, head and antlers. And then we had to stop back by our camp and get the rest of our camping gear. And
9 miles?
It was 9 miles back and it's not flat ground. It's up and down. And we got back to the truck and literally the bottoms of my feet, all the skin was peeling off. I mean, like bad blisters.
It's hot too, wasn't it?
Yes. And I had 2 cousins that were out there hunting and they hadn't killed deer yet. And this guy I was with, he was like, all right, are we going back in there tonight? I said, shit, no. I said, we're going to Las Cruces, eating a steak and getting a hotel room. I said, I'm done. But if I do a mule deer hunt again, I will have an outfitter and pack mules or horses or something.
That thing had to hit the ground and you're like, oh, what the fuck have I done?
He was cool that he was a stag. His nuts were about the size of peanuts and he was still in full velvet.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And that was only... It wasn't a justification for packing him out 9 miles. But
did you get him mounted with the velvet?
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool deal. You don't see that very often. You see it in whitetails I've been working for the ranch for 8 years. We've never had one but Bucky's had a couple on their ranch that have been stags, but that's a rarity.
You can go somewhere in Arizona and you can shoot them in velvet because I think they open in August.
Yes. And in like, what states? Maybe up like far north. Maybe Montana. There's a few states, though, that the archery season opens early and you can go up, shoot a whitetail in full velvet.
I saw a dude in Alaska shoot a big-ass moose and it was in the water. In 2 foot of water. I thought, that's a big fuck up. And he told me, he said, I can only get one side anyways. We can't flip them up. They weigh too much. They can't flip them over. So the side that's down is where you're going to get your stuff at. And it was in the water.
And my cousin shot a moose. Oh, it's been a while back, but they packed shipped all the meat back down here. And they said that was the worst.
Oh man, moose is good. Moose I've had is really good. And I've had it 3 times.
But they also had a bush plane come pick them up, and the meat was sitting out for a couple days. I think it was, but they said it was terrible.
A buddy of mine, they have a ranch in Wyoming, and they fly in a private jet. So they shoot a ranch, the moose, it's taken care of right there, and everything's good. And they put it on a private jet and come home. So that meat was good. And then I had some moose meat we had in Alaska. That guy gave us backstrap off of it. Had steaks, and they were very good. But I've had moose 3 times from 3 different deals, and they were all very, very good. Yeah, and I'm not a big wild game eater. You know what I really love is veal. That is one of my favorite things to eat is veal. And you can't find it very many places.
I bet I haven't had veal 2 or 3 times in my life.
I love it. A little sweet
good,
taste, and a little different. I like it. But lamb and stuff, I'm just not a big fan of any of that. Goat, lamb. I'm not a big venison eater. I've had venison. It's all right. Mule,
Yeah, it's too lean.
I've had antelope before. Not a big fan of it.
No.
I just don't care much for wild game.
You got to shoot them in October. Got that fat on them.
Oh, yeah.
What was your turkey season like?
Shot a bird opening weekend. We hunted 3 days on a bunch of country. Saw 3 longbeards total.
Oh, no.
Jakes around every corner.
Really?
So the next 2 or 3 years will be really good. But we hunted a roost opening morning, and I didn't roost I roosted the birds 2 nights before. Didn't go. I thought, hell, this is a slam dunk.
Mm-hmm.
Go back that morning. They're gobbling a quarter of a mile down the creek. Pitch down, go every direction other than where I thought they'd go.
Mm-hmm.
And then went back in. We hunted for 2 more days, and then went back into that same roost, and those birds were back where they had. I don't know if a coyote had boogered them the night before or what, but called a bird in, and hell, it was slam dunk. Gobbled his way into 15 yards and smashed him. But other than that, that was the only turkey hunt we did this year. Our numbers were way, way down.
Yeah. It's kind of the same way everywhere. I don't have very good luck in the mornings. First thing off the roost.
No, you sleep in until 8, 9 o'clock.
Never have good luck. I mean, like, you get to hear them gobble and everything. So, I mean, where they are. But, like, most of the time, they just pitch down right there. They find their hen, and they go the opposite direction. I don't understand the fascination with guys getting out there at first light.
We had a roost hunt in 2019. And it's a big roost, and those birds were still kind of in their winter flocks. But we set up on it's a sunflower field that we dove hunt, but we had it plowed. And there were probably 35, 40 hens that pitched down and 17 longbeards. And they'd been coming down this fence line every morning. And that was, I'll never forget that picture in my mind. But we killed 2 birds that morning, and that was really, really cool to see.
Right.
Other than that, as far as roost hunts,
Yeah.
I can count it on one hand, the birds that we've been successful on. Like you said, because they're going to have at least 5 hens with them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them's going to be the bitch that goes the other way, and adios.
Did you see that video I had of the hen that took on the decoy? She was all fucking hot and bothered. She did like a weird gobble before I put my camera up, like behind us where she came from. She was real vocal, yelping a lot and kind of purring. And then like she did this weird type thing. And then I saw her just like trucking up at us. So I pulled up my phone and like, here this bitch is, like fucking put her fan up, and she's pushing that decoy around.
I've seen those hens kind of approach a hen decoy and peck at them and kind of cluck and purr, but
she was all hot and bothered.
That was wild.
And I'm assuming that she'd already been, she was by herself. So I think she's either got a nest on the ground or she'd already been bred to be by herself. Otherwise, she'd be with Tom still.
Yeah.
So I don't know what her issue was.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the next couple of years, as many Jakes as we had this year, it should be really good.
I saw more Jakes this year too.
But I was going to ask you, have you ever run a fan? Do you carry a fan in your vest?
I don't do it. I don't do it because I've come out on the podcast that I won't do it.
Come on. Andy.
I was the anti-reaping guy, so I've dug my heels in.
It is. I will say it's a ton of fun to just call them, just get under a tree, call them in naturally. But when the little assholes hang up out there at 100 yards, you can throw that fan at them. And you've got to kind of get in their comfort zone. But
do you even have to kneel down, or can you just like walk with that fan?
No.
So you can just stand, kind of crouch over. You're not having to crawl. Belly crawl is what I'm getting at. Just kneel over.
If you get close into them, within 100 yards, you need to be on your hands and knees.
Right.
But I don't know. We've done that a bunch.
So have you had them like coming at you?
I've had them.
Like from me to you?
I took a kid one year. He'd never killed a turkey. He and his dad set up, typical turkey hunt, and had 3 birds gobbling.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of, were skirting us. They were out there about 80 yards, and it wasn't going to happen. And I threw a fan up, and I'm kind of watching them. They tuck tail, and here they come. And I'm hollering, the kid's sitting over there 15 yards to my left. I'm like, hey, right here, right here, right here. And I just laid down flat on the ground. And I'm not kidding you. I mean, they were from here to that goose decoy. And I'm just laying there like, please don't shoot right over the top of me. And anyway, they didn't. But yeah, no, they'll come right up to you. So
it seems fun, but like I was the anti-reaping guy on here, so it's like
you need to try it one time just
not tell anybody.
Or hell, just go. You don't have to shoot the bird. Just go do it to witness
if it works.
Yes,
that might be fun.
And hell, you could do that right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, turkey season's ended. The last day I went out on Sunday, and he had 3 hens, and that was it.
Yeah, I love it when it works, but it can be frustrating.
Right. Yeah, that was basically my whole season. Just like not for clients, but just for me personally, was just utter frustration.
Yeah.
But I'll do it again next year because, that's my makeup.
No, it's a good time.
So what else is going on? You got deer to feed and doe or babies coming on the ground in another 2 weeks.
I had a guy that saw a fawn last week, so they should be dropping pretty quick. Got all our cattle work. We're supposed to brand for my dad in the morning, but it's looking like we might get rained out, which would be a good problem.
Just A-okay.
But everything's good. It's green, and just need to fill some tanks up, and we'll be in good shape.
Perfect. It'll all be here again before we know it. Well, listen, Wade, thanks for coming out. We got over 2 hours, so.
You bet. Well, guys, it's always fun.
Hey, had a great time, Wade. Well, can't wait to see you in November on the hunt.
I'm taking you turkey hunting next year, Jeff.
Do it. Go with him, Jeff.
Come on, Jeff.
Take the fan out.
You got to go tornado chasing with me then.
Deal.
Okay, deal.
Fuck, that's easy enough. All right, big guy. I guess I'll see you in a couple months.
Sounds good.
Peace.
See you, bub.
See you. Bye.